Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Music City Open presented by Lone Star Disc. We are here in Nashville, Tennessee for stop 4 of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We are well into the season now. I am Jeremy Colling, joined as always by Paul Ulibarri. Got Big Barry commentary bringing you all the action here in Nashville, Tennessee this weekend. And we have a wonderful starting round for you. But Paul?
Yeah, we got a pre-sale right now for Two Hot Geese Honky Tonk Apparel. We got crew necks. We got, what else we got? We got 2 shirts, 2 different kinds of shirts, and we have a hoodie. So that's a little sneak peek right there. That's beautiful.
These things are sweet. We'll take a little course close up. This is one of the top destinations in Tennessee. This course has been improved. We've played a couple different iterations of this course here at Friends at Mill Ridge Park, but real quick, let's get into International Course Cleanup Weekend. UDisc and Trash Panda are teaming up for International Course Cleanup Weekend on April 22nd and 23rd. Head to udisc.com/events to find a course cleanup near you or create one of your own.
That's great.
Create one of your own. Clean up these courses, guys. Well, we've got a feature card here today for you to aspire to. We've got Calvin Heimburg, hottest player on planet Earth, scorching lately. We've got Nico Locastro, obviously one of the top players on Team Lone Star. We've got the absolute slayer of the Music City. I mean, this guy is just jamming at this event every year. Chris Dickerson, obviously hometown hero, Tennessee Titan, and the ageless, the incredible, the Tide Roller, Matt Oram, out here doing his thing for the 3rd straight decade, just kicking butt everywhere he goes.
Yeah, hole 1, par 4, 668 feet. Through this gap we go, up the hill to the left, and then around this little corner. We do have OB on the left, so make sure you remember that in case somebody does try to go the big anhyzer. Saw a couple people do it, actually, which is pretty risky.
Yeah.
And then up this hill we go, kind of a little high rise.
Yeah, I actually didn't see that in practice, and then the first thing I saw when we stepped up to the tee was, the ante, it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And sorry, just one more shout out to our FPO. You know?
Yeah.
Let's go buy those shirts. Madison and Erica are doing a great job.
You don't have to worry about that. I think our fans are going to support them.
Good.
Everywhere I see Madison and Erica, people are just saying, honk, honk. I mean,
that's awesome. That's
and
good.
those shirts are really well designed.
Well, every little bit helps, so I say go out there again.
Nico with a nice hyzer. The thing you really would like to do on this hole with this hyzer is swing left. The straighter you go,
the harder it is.
The harder the angle is for that second shot. So you kind of want to keep it tight to these trees here on the left side. But like you said, there is OB on the left side, so you don't want to get too tight.
Matteo has a pretty powerful forehand, but I wouldn't say he's like known for a power forehand. Nico either. So the farther left you go and the farther you go is really what you're looking for. Power players can throw it straight, and then they can just throw a spike hyzer.
Yeah.
And Calvin either. I mean, nobody really on this card. Calvin has a pretty powerful one, but I don't see him throw it high very often, and that's kind of what you need on your second shot here.
This tee shot, very good. Very close to those trees, but you can see how much closer to the bottom of the hill he is than Nico. That's going to open up that angle significantly.
In 4 throws, 668 feet.
Yeah, I feel like each one of these players has about, they got 375 in the bag.
Yeah, right around there, yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris Dickerson. I'm from Limestone, Tennessee, and I'm a 4-time Music City Open champion. What I remember mostly from my childhood growing up in Tennessee is working on the farm. I want to say it was like around 3 to 400 cattle. Not a huge farm, but not a small one either. I think this is the tournament that kind of lit a fire under me, going all the way back to playing advanced. I was winning a good amount of tournaments. I came down here, played the Music City Open, and got second in a playoff. I felt like I should have won this, and I didn't. So it just kind of gave me motivation to, do better. Whenever I come to Nashville, I'm probably going to gain 5 to 10 pounds this week. I'm not going to lie. I eat a lot of hot chicken. My favorite Nashville hot chicken is Hattie B's. There's like 4 or 5 locations here. It is very good. I would even go as far as saying it's the best chicken I've ever had. It's always nice to come home to Tennessee and play a tournament in your home state. They want to see their local player excel, and that's kind of how it feels here for me. I hope to win this weekend, more so than I would say years past, just because I haven't played good this year yet. I would really just like to get back out and, make a statement. Say like, I had some off weeks and I'm back to playing how I want to play.
Obviously, expectations are always high with Chris Dickerson, any tournament in Tennessee, and just really any tournament on tour.
Let's go, Chris.
I think he's still maintaining a 50% win rate, which is just crazy because he's always got a high number of tournaments played.
Got it this weekend.
50%.
Yeah, he's just a natural-born winner, man.
He usually does pretty
You're
good.
going to see Chris and Nico in that really tough position, and Nico's laying down roller, it looks like.
Yeah, it's doable, but you do have Guardians right and short, and there's a huge left to right win, and so it's going to push it to the right. Both of them going for the roller, both of them getting pushed to the right.
I didn't love that angle for Matty O, and there is OB down the hill, but it's got enough cut that it doesn't quite get all the way
Pretty
down
lucky.
Yeah, that was right in that in-between angle where it looked like a failed turnover and a failed roller simultaneously.
See if you have the power. And he doesn't.
No, that's going to be short. That's in that Guardians of the Galaxy spot.
No, he's so far left. He's going to be able to throw this low. Oh, but he pulled it. Good lift.
Yeah, there's a good, it's hard to say exactly what the wind is doing here because these guys are teeing off about 3 hours later. But early in the day, there was a strong left to right from that position. So if the wind is consistent, then that should have pushed.
Look at this move. Makes the circle.
Yeah, that's a little bit deep at the pin, but very creative scramble there for Nico. Not in the position you want to be after 2 shots on this opening hole.
Pretty tough hole.
Yeah,
honestly, today.
The conditions are tough. I mean, we've got a windy day. It's cold. I don't know what Chris is doing out here in a t-shirt.
It's muddy.
It's very slick on the ground. It's been raining. Chris trying to give it a little bit of a bid there. Getting out of harm's way there. Should have a relatively easy par putt coming.
We see a lot of this out here.
And Nico unable to scramble on the first hole, so he's going to start his event with a bogey.
Let's talk about what makes this course tough really quick as we see.
Well, this kind of stuff right here.
Oh, 100%. You're right. So,
yeah, 20 feet away.
The rough here is the thickest you're going to see. The fairways are big, I feel like, but the rough, if you do manage to get in there, is so thick.
This is not a permanent course, right? This is just here for the tournament. Is that right?
You know what? I'm not a scientist, so I can't answer that. I'm a commentator.
Fair. Yeah, I'm not. Gosh, I should know this is a permanent or not, but
I think it's private.
Okay. Yeah. So it's got that feel of like a place where it gets broken in when the tournament comes to town. And
I know that this layout definitely isn't permanent.
Right.
But as I looked on the UDisc app to find the place, it said private. So
okay, there you go.
And it did come up on UDisc. So.
Well, not surprising to see a slow start for our league group, considering that was one of the tougher holes on the course, 4.21 average, and that's honestly a bit surprising to me, considering there was a tail left to right off the tee, which is not the worst wind, but it's just relatively open. There's not too much in the way. but the conditions are just not really like savory for scoring. It feels like it's going to be one of those types of rounds.
Yeah.
Hole 2 is a par 4, 723 feet, downhill tee shot, OB left, OB right, but you want to keep your disc right to access that angle going downhill left on your second shot through the tunnel. This is a good wide drive for Matty as it starts to hyzer.
Just eating a sandwich
Perfect.
there.
He's going to like that a lot.
Yeah, and then the other thing that really makes this place tough is there's a lot of out of bounds. A lot of out of bounds
Yes.
lining the fairways. Then it's wet, and it's kind of just gross out.
Doesn't
So,
seem too windy.
Calvin, I like this drive as well. This is pushing
little
that back edge tree line, but just putting the hyzer on and right next to Matty O. Those are ideal drives. You can get closer to the gap, but it requires so much unnecessary risk, I believe, that I think these guys are just trying to swing it out there to the right and just don't
though.
put bogey in play.
Yeah.
And a good drive from Chris, and let's see how Nico.
Similar action here. Highs are high. You do have a right to left crosshead, which is going to keep them right, which is good. It's kind of a helping win for the tee shot.
And this second shot is a daunting tunnel. The closer you get to that gap, it's really rewarding if you do get aggressive and pull it off. But this is a pretty scary little shot to hit because
Oh,
there
I
is
like
out of bounds right, and Chris is heading that direction.
I
But
hate it.
fortunately, the
Oh.
tree line is pretty thick.
Can I take
Out of bounds
back my
right.
answer?
There's also out of bounds left. Any sort of kick that doesn't hit another tree is going to go out of bounds here.
Yeah, this is the third hardest hole on the course at a 4.33 average.
Oh, Nico, not so lucky, but
Not an easy starting holes
he
for
got
this
the edge
course,
line.
and it doesn't really finish easy either.
There we go. This needs to see. It's so tough to see if it's going to settle
Yeah.
or kind of scoot, but with the
Beautiful
soft
shot.
ground, that's just.
That's a shot that doesn't get old. That's how you can stay relevant for 3 decades. If you can throw laser line drive straight shots.
Yeah, with a little bit
Do
of
it.
Anheuser, try it out. That shot travels to any course on the planet.
And Calvin a little bit off there. It's too much Anheuser as it goes down the middle of the fairway, but well short and out of position for the birdie.
I can't remember a hole where you can throw it 400 feet on a rope dead straight with a little Anheuser.
Yeah, that's not perfect.
It's not
Impossible.
good.
Yeah.
That's why this guy is really good as well.
That's
Except
right.
he does it at like right around
Oh,
600.
Calvin. That was a great angle from back there. Gives a slight bid, and he's going to have a very short par tap in.
This is
Turn
kind of
up
the
the mic
landing zone right here.
You see a
If
lot
you
of.
get any closer than this, oh my
How's
gosh,
that?
he almost makes
Is that
it.
better?
If you get any closer than that, I mean, you did something right.
Yeah.
Like that's how
turn down
good
the-
Matteo shot was from back there.
Screen.
Nico has this to clean up his par.
Rock climbing. He's got the right shoes for it. Nope.
All right. And you know,
Is that better audio now?
There's a lot of rocks in these greens, and I wouldn't be surprised to see someone else have a similar foot situation there on the green. It's a prevalent feature here on these greens.
Yeah, but do they have the right footwear for it?
That I can't answer
Doubtful.
that.
I can. Doubtful.
Yep.
Very doubtful.
Yep.
I'll answer it right now for you.
Matty O, beautiful birdie.
Still quiet. What are you
One of
talking
only
about?
12 players on the day.
My mic's on full. Okay.
Yeah, no bogues. That's nice. That's a good little.
I'll
action
just
on this card,
turn
for sure.
This
the
hole is
screen
big.
down.
There's a couple of quads out there, a ton of triples, doubles.
Might get a bit low.
Bogarts out there, huh?
Doblina Bogarts.
All right.
You though, talk about doozy.
Yeah, well, it's.
I turn it down to like 40%.
Pure nightmare.
But it's the hardest hole in the course, folks. Let's get straight into hole 3. That drone just started off the tee too quick. You can't quite tell how awkward this angle is, but you got this clump right here, right in the middle, and there's out of bounds left and right. There's another clump right there. That's not quite in the middle. You're trying to swing to the right of that, but the shot is like a very overstable Anheuser that breaks right and then hyzers back to the left. There's a mandatory here early.
Ooh,
That's just gonna go kind of straight.
that looks
That's
pretty
nice
tough,
because
actually.
It doesn't kick left too far.
Through those
Yeah,
trees.
Right there past the basket, that out of bounds stake line, it's about 10 feet off the wood line to the left. Same goes for off the wood line on the right, so that could potentially be a
Yep.
double.
Yeah, that's more something I would do right there.
That's gonna be hard to scramble. Just, it's not just the awkward angle.
Oh,
That's a perfect shot right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
Sorry, doesn't work out here.
That's the issue. Is how can you find your way around?
Well,
that
this guy's made a living off it. Let's see if he does it. Nope.
No.
Sorry, not even the best
Wow.
in the world can do it. All right,
Yeah.
now they're all scrambling for.
Well, that's how you
For
play hole
par.
3. Is
I
you-
wonder-
it's
I wonder what
you
the
shoot
average
both
is for
the
this hole.
coverages, Then you scramble for your par, and then you just try to become one of the few that don't take a bogey on it. It's
Oh,
Calvin's gonna
make
have
sure
to
to
do
do your gardening.
course clean. It's international course cleanup and
just course
the
maintenance.
disc or udisc.com and
That's
join
Oh.
Josh
Oh,
Buffer.
oh no! Hits a middle stump. At least they got rid of that tree. Sykes.
I want Calvin to at least get top 5.
Right down the middle. Just a little unfortunate break there for Calvin.
Honestly, if you have a nightmare and this isn't the hole you're playing at,
Nice.
or where you're
Good
playing,
up.
because even when you get off to the side, this is true facts, folks. There are thorns on these trees that are 6 inches long.
Yes. It's
And
like
they're-
a Shrike's.
It's like the scariest thing you'll ever see in your life. Like, yeah, I got stabbed with one in my left hand.
Shrike's loving it.
I
Disc
cried.
golfers are hating it.
I cried.
Oh,
Aaron elbow right in the
Yeah,
face.
that's gonna be a long putt for the double. I mean, for the single, but if he doesn't hit it, it would be a double.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it should be fine for Matt.
Look at how close that over.
that is never fine.
Yeah,
Hitting
it's
trees
tough.
like that.
I don't disagree with the.
He's hating his life right now.
Is close. I think that if they make some adjustments for the next time we come back here, I think this could be a really solid hole.
Yeah, I like the hole. I just don't like that you can get double penalized, kick left,
Yes,
out
and
of
be
bounds.
out of bounds,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think OB deep should be a thing, but I don't think OB right away. But I'm not a course designer. I'm barely a player at this point, so
Calvin in for the bogey, a good bogey save, if you can say that. And Nico's going to take a bogey as well. And Matteo needs to make this to avoid joining Calvin and Nico, and he does.
Oh, it looked like it almost bounced out there.
So good scramble for Chris and Matteo.
Should be an easy 3.
good scramble there.
These first 3 holes are just, can you get through even par, and can you squeak out a birdie on one of them? If you can get one under through these first 3, I think you're off to a
Nico
really
needs to
good
pick
start.
it up.
It's a very tough opening.
2 bogeys,
set
3
of
holes.
But it starts to get a little bit easier on these next couple.
Disc Golf.
Oh, I didn't quite see that.
At the Power Disc Golf Academy, we believe in adding power to the player to level up, teaching it to putt it, give you the
Hole 4. Paul, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, par 5.
-7 though for first place
Footer.
right now. Luke Humphrey.
Out of bounds left, out of bounds right. Pretty easy to stay in bounds here, especially with the left-right cross when I don't suspect these guys having a problem. It's a second shot through here that's kind of tough, except for right is safe, so they're going to go first shot 450, 400 feet. Second shot, big Anheuser over the trees. They don't even have to go through the gap, really. And then just...
This course is so huge.
The easier hole in the course, I believe.
You know what? That being said, I thought it would be, considering that
A
it's
1,000
pretty
foot
wide open, and I mean, you're given the
par 5.
with
Or let's say
10
1100,
shot.
but
That being said, we don't play a hole that averages below par until
Right.
hole 8. Until
What?
hole 8. When do you ever see that on the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
Yeah, so this would be considered one of the easier.
Yeah, it's
Probably.
closest. It's closest to par of these holes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's a 5.09 average, but still averaging a par 5, averaging over par.
It's
with-
the conditions. Good
You
conditions,
wish.
this thing's just gonna get taken apart.
Yeah, this one surprised me. I thought this was going to
And-
be top 3 easiest,
Yeah.
but it just isn't.
Well, that's because in practice we had great winds. It was
Yeah.
gonna get way over there, and now it's slippery, and you're kind of depressed because you just played hole 3.
Yeah, you just haven't quite figured out how to play that hole.
You got a
That's the
thorn in your hand.
Yep. Pretty decent tee shots here. It really is just a
Yeah.
matter of not getting yourself out of position. It's not really much to say because these guys are just stepping up and saying, all right, get out there, try to finish on the left side just to open up this big Anheuser second. And the key is just get way right on the
Yeah, like
second
how are you
shot.
gonna mess that up? He's gonna be in the circle.
Yeah.
He's gotta be in the circle.
In the circle. What do you mean circle?
No, on his next shot. I'm saying, how do you mess the next shot up?
Oh.
It's like a pretty easy approach. It is on the basket is on like
High-rise?
on a high rise on a hill,
On a high rise on a hill, and that's
and
how.
that's where it
Yeah.
gets tricky. Exactly.
I think
For
that's
some reason, my
probably where
chat
this hole really started
won't
going
load up
over
on
par,
OBS.
on the putts.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to see more statistics. Like, how is this as far as people hitting the green,
Right.
and how many people are
See if I
still
can send a
not
message through here.
birdie even though they're hitting the green in regulation? Because that's probably pretty high, and it would be one of the easier ones to.
Nice shot shape for Nico out there to the right near Matty O. I think it would be an interesting thing to see what are the 2-putt and 3-putt percentages on holes that have high rises versus
Oh, yeah.
just traditional
I could send
baskets.
messages through OBS, but I can't see the live
It's
chat.
fine. See, what I found out on this hole is that if you go over the trees left, you can find out.
I'll have to
on
fix that
the
later.
Side of those trees.
Ah, someone did that on your card.
So there is out of bounds left. It's just past all the crud.
Oh,
Did that catch a little bit of the basket? The
Hit-
halal guy
hits
slowing
the
down
bottom.
approach for Chris. It's good average.
imagine that albatross. All right, Nico needs the birdie here. Clean up that score.
Nice soft flex. That's going to stay high on the hill.
I think that's what you kind of want.
I
It's
love
makeable,
that. I was just
makeable.
gonna say, I like the idea of not throwing hyzer because you're taking away the skip, and that's a really well done.
See, these guys have putter approaches in, and that's my point. Is you mess that up, that's kind of on you.
Yeah, yeah. You go back to
Nice.
If you can't execute that shot at the top level, then you probably didn't come into this event with high hopes, anyways.
These guys have
yeah.
the hopes.
Yeah, these guys are all hopeful, and I that's kind of why. Right
I mean,
there.
Chris is down the hill, but he hit the.
This whole averages above par,
Yeah,
but
he's going for the eagle 3.
it seems like these guys are all getting birdies pretty easily.
Nico, this is a little bit scary going down the hill, but boy, he steps up and knocks that down with some authority.
All right. Tough. This is what's tough right here. Up the hill, swirling winds, jumper. Yep, easy.
Oh, solid. Just outside the circle. That's kind of a perfect spot for like the Kevin Jones, the James Conrads, the Chris Dickersons of the world. They just like that little bit of hop into the shot. And just outside the circle is as close as you can be to do that. They
The
make a
thing
living
is
off that.
when you're down the hill though, when you're just outside the circle on one of these buckets, it plays more like 40 feet than 33
Yeah,
feet.
sure. Mhm.
A little bit farther. I have a really tough time when I'm way down there just in the circle because it does play that much farther. That's a great star frame.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
glad I don't sound like an absolute doofus right now after I call this hole one of the easier ones.
Yeah,
Usually it's like, oh, double bogey, triple bogey.
Well, that's how I assumed the hole would be played. And Matt Oram now. he
Anthony
is
Barella, too,
really
minus
good
6.
start, folks. Through 4 holes.
Alden Harris, minus 5.
Getting it done.
Decent.
Hole 5, we have a par 4, 587 feet, but as the crow flies, it's
Just
probably
realized I was covering up
50 feet. You just can't quite get there
some deets up top.
off the tee. You have this out of bounds area. There's a good shot right there. There's a mandatory right off the tee that prevents the players going hyzer over that parking lot. There's 2 ways you can play. You can throw the forehand low and try to hope that you hit one of those 2 or 3 gaps that there's up the fairway, or there's this big high Anheuser shot that brings in a very easy birdie, but it can also get you into a lot of trouble.
There you go.
No man's land. Step out sidearm, maybe flex or something.
I think it's very possible, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, it seems like the easiest hole on the course, but then, like you said, there's all kinds of windows. You got to be kind of perfect with your tee shot.
Again, this is another one that surprises me. 4.03. I would have not thought that this hole would have averaged over.
Calvin!
Like you said, if the conditions do improve,
It's gonna be just a slaughter fest on the
Oh.
I mean, it's just the best way I can describe the course. Hands up.
yeah, okay, hands up.
It's just gooey. It's a gooey course.
Gooey?
Oh, up for that.
Just stating facts, bro. Thanks for being on board with me, though. Got support. That's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got access to
I wonder if all of Nico's
second
discs
shot,
are
and I mean, it's
died.
not as far as the others, but he's easily got the best second shot coming.
Yep.
Seems like I see that often.
Like that. Turned over, though. Needs to hurry.
I think it's fine.
Yep.
I think it's more than
Oh.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
inside his wheelhouse, and he actually
He'll-
throws a beautiful shot. I mean, look what Calvin has. Just nearly nothing.
This sucks.
Really? Yeah, pretty much.
He should save the par though.
100 feet. What's interesting about Nico's sidearm is when he throws it straight high like that. Like, I don't know how hard he throws. You know?
Yeah, sure.
He's sometimes he just rips them, and sometimes he doesn't throw the sidearm very well, and so it caught me off guard. Adio's gonna be pinched over there to the right, and I think he's safe, which is good. There is out of bounds, kind of tucked,
Had that
guarding
gone,
the pin position.
sorry, had that gone out of bounds, that would have absolutely
Okay.
been a double penalty because he would have been within 40 feet.
Yep.
With just no
Big
chance of
putt
making it.
coming for him.
But yeah, if he stays, he did stay safe, but I mean, he's going to have absolutely zero visibility of the pin.
There you go. Ooh, cutting it close there, Bubba.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it didn't go out of bounds. The way that thing was moving, it certainly looked like it was tracking for a disaster. But he's actually got an opportunity to maybe get a little highlight.
Oh.
Uh-oh. And now he has an opportunity to kind of
Save a par.
Yeah. Get a little awkward out here.
Okay.
Hey, can he go back to back outside the circs?
Let's go. Oh.
No, he can't.
Chained
Here's
out.
the thing about Chris's round. He's given himself opportunities. Aside from hole one, he's really been like, oh.
Oh, shit.
So Nico, after the nice putt on 4, unable to collect the birdie on 5 with a great second shot. And
Switched to
gonna
the
sting.
spinner there. This is weird.
Ah.
Yeah, he switched to the spinner. He went push on the nice putt down the hill, and now he's switching to this little spin move.
no one on tour switches their putt more throughout a round than Nico. He usually does it with pretty good success. It's
Yeah, he's a good putter.
It seems like a foreign concept to me to think about changing your putt mid-round, but he is able to adapt to the scenario and the situation of his putt usually pretty seamlessly. Matteo unable to save the par. He's going to take a bogey, and that one's frustrating because he was only 55, 60 feet away on his third and unable to get up and down from there. That is going to be...
Well, like you said, he
thorn
wanted
in
that
the side.
highlight, and
Yeah.
sometimes that can bait you into a bad score, and it does right there. Even for the best in the world, sometimes it's just fine to just put it right on their bucket and move on. Especially after getting a good break and not going OB right there. I said a lot about that guy just now.
He sure
I'm gonna
did.
stop talking.
As you can see, I mean, 7 under as the hot round, that usually warrants some respect from players going into a round, knowing that that's the best score out there. Man, that's usually around 9 to 12 is about the range we
16.
usually see. Yeah, I mean, depending on if it's Memorial or not. Hole 6 is a par 5, 976 feet.
Man.
uphill. This is the 4th most difficult
Playing
hole.
3 rounds at
It's
this
so
course
difficult.
over the weekend
That is a
must have been
prime
so
spot.
deadly on the
Chris
arms.
going going out of bounds left or early, which is just devastating for this hole. You have.
And they probably did like a
in that
practice
good
round
spot
too
if you have
before it.
any chance of birdie in this hole, I believe.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's playing really hard because it is a slight headwind, and so it's playing long.
And right to left.
Yes.
So
Worse wind.
If you hyzer out at all, you are going way left. So the key here is keeping this low, and this is what I'm talking about. This is in big time danger of going out of bounds left.
Oh,
It does.
come on, by like 8
But
feet.
It's almost like
So close.
that's the miss because then you have access to get into the landing spot. If you play it safe to the
Yeah.
right, such a tough.
Oh, this
shot
looks
to get
pretty
in
good.
Position for the birdie.
Really is.
Like these are like they have sidearms over the top. That's about it.
He's got a
Maybe
pitch.
spike hyzer, and then the shot coming into the green is a 330-foot shot, pinched off right and left with a crazy wind. So
Oh, that should be fine.
good design.
Really good design, and this is a good looking shot from Matt Oram. It's every
Pretty good
bit more
distance.
left you get off the tee,
He makes it look so
makes the
smooth.
shot exponentially better on that second.
Oh, this guy's going super shot.
Yeah, there's a big high anhyzer, I suppose. I mean, is this roller though? No, it's just
big
flex.
Whoa.
If it starts flexing now, it's gonna be fine.
This is the best shot I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
Out of bounds.
Yeah, out of bounds.
Oh no.
But I mean, I love the idea.
No.
If any player's gonna execute that shot, why not Nico? Just a little bit too much
I
time.
like it because
He just went double OB.
Yeah, he's gonna have good access to
Yeah,
on his
he's so
fourth
far.
shot. Yeah.
See this shot where Chris is smart shot. Everything looks good. He looks like a genius, but his next shot's gonna be
330 and kind of
Oh, wait.
fast.
That wasn't-
'cause
never
that-
mind.
that-
It was
that
Calvin
goes
that went
slow
out.
Downhill past the basket.
this is the mistake you see some people make. Sometimes they catch that left side. They throw it too straight.
Mm-hmm.
Catch that left side, but he accesses the tunnel perfectly. He might have the sidearm flex in.
Let's see what Calvin is left with.
He's just gonna put it to the landing zone up there. Oh,
Does
Keep-
he overturn this? Oh no, it's low enough. Okay, that's gonna be fine.
Oh. I thought he was playing it safe.
Have a decent chance at
I
saving
mean,
the
look
par.
at this shot. He's got to go flex. with
Nice.
Super overstable.
Get in there.
And like you said, really
Oh.
fast. That's a
Oh.
good shot, man.
Watch, slow down, slow down. Okay, so you can see that out of bounds start to make its way into your picture there on the left side of the green, and Chris just putting the brakes on. He's at the edge of the circle, but inside C1, putting for birdie.
This is just a perfect spot. That was a great Anheuser shot there from
Yeah.
Matty O.
Perfect.
Dissected this hole very well. Well
So
done.
good.
Mm-hmm.
So scary. You see, in order for him to get into a perfect spot, he's 8 feet from the out of bounds right there.
There's a lot of space for this hole to just feel like you're just kind of out there.
Oh my
wandering
God.
around, and that's going to be a par save.
Saves the par.
Well played after the out of bounds tee shot.
Beautiful.
This one, and look how close he was to out of bounds. I didn't realize he was that close.
The closer you are to the OB, the better off you are on your last shot. Like this is a pretty easy shot.
Just a stock hyzer, and let's see how close Nico gets. Pretty
Really good.
close. Should be manageable from there.
Push or spin, you call it.
Oh,
Call it.
man. I never know why he chooses what he chooses. So I wish I could. I'll say
Nice
push.
bird.
Just throw my money in at push.
It's gonna be a bad move. I think he's gonna be spinning.
After missing the last one, he's just gonna change it up.
I don't know. Looks like a spin. Yep.
Yeah, and spin the win inside left. That will be a par save for Nico and a good birdie putt for Chris. And that will put him at 2 under. So you guys maybe take your attention and go up to the top right of the screen. We've got a new graphic showing where the leaders are. If it is one player outright, we'll have their name up there. But right now there's a 2-way tie at 7 under for Luke Humphreys and I believe is it
Ezra.
Is it?
I think it's Ezra Aderl.
We'll just wait just 2 seconds.
Well, no.
We'll take a look
1,
here.
2. I mean,
1, 2, skip a
Oh.
few. Ezra Aderhold,
Hey.
that's what I thought. I thought he was in with his round. I knew he shot 7 under.
who were we kidding? That was yesterday. This is Ezra.
Yeah. All right, as we get on to hole 7, par 3, 535 feet, and just downhill the whole way. I don't know exactly what the elevation is. I think it's 25 feet below the tee.
Imagine a roller on that.
We're throwing into a headwind. I think if the headwind's still as brisk as it was early in the day, yeah, you can see that jersey moving.
I think
Calvin
it's a right to left.
Calvin
wind.
should do a roller
I
right down the
think it's a
middle.
helping wind from right to left.
Oh, then you played it at a different time than
Yeah.
I did, because it was just not.
Oh,
I like what Chris is doing there by going straight instead of. Oh my gosh,
who
he
wouldn't?
parked it.
Who wouldn't?
Wow. 530 foot
Wow.
drive.
I see a lot of players going hyzer here, and with that wind that we had earlier in the day, a hyzer just wasn't getting there. But if you go flat and straight and stay under the wind a bit, then you can get there. And Chris just throws one of the best shots we've
Well,
seen
I guess
in
it
a
was
long time.
downhill,
Like,
so
it's hard to really describe how good that shot is in this wind.
Well, here's the hyzer.
gets a bit more distance that
See if
way.
it gets a lift. Flattens out on him. Got a lift. Once it flattens, you're done. It's going to be short.
Oh,
He needs that to stay on hyzer the whole time and let the wind kind of push him. This guy. I mean, he's just going to take it right over that tree, I bet.
oh yeah.
Right over the tree.
That needs to slow down.
That's his most stable disc.
It's
Oh.
interesting seeing players get there. I played with Anthony Barella.
That's an easy
The disc 8
birdie for him.
and he
Cross my
threw a big
fingers.
hyzer, and he came up 75 feet short. So that just kind of tells you the
Watch this
conditions
one.
of the
Here's
time.
Nico.
Yeah.
Coming in. This looks pretty good to me. I mean,
Sure.
that's almost there, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Still must have been a kind of a swirling wind.
Yeah, it was changing throughout the day for sure. Just a little bit though, which wow. Matty O's shot, which looked like it was maybe
Oh.
50 feet short, was actually closer to 100.
Yeah.
Little
See
slip.
him slip right there on the jumper?
Mhm.
Gooey. Just gooey.
Wow, put your hands up.
Hands up, gooey.
Oh,
That's a nice nick. So it doesn't keep flying down the hill. Calvin, he's off to a slow start on this course. This could help.
oh I jinxed
Doesn't
him.
help.
Good effort though. I like seeing Calvin miss high. I mean, if he is missing,
I love it. I mean, playing against him, couldn't ask for anything else.
it just seems like that's the most confident version of Calvin. And a huge birdie for Chris. That brings him to 3 under, and now he's officially off to a good start. I mean, he's safe
anything under par right now on
Totally.
this course is really good. The course is gooey. Hands up.
Gooey.
So we've done it. We've gotten through one of the harder stretches on our recent tour.
See
I think
Calvin's new bag.
a 7-hole stretch where every hole averaged above par.
The cooler
But that
or
is the
3.0 or something like
It's
that.
funny that this hole is the 14th most difficult.
One.
Well,
No,
fifth? No, fourth.
this last hole was the 5th,
Yeah.
and we are approaching the 5th easiest hole. In just a moment.
Oh, so like. And
Yeah, just gooey. Just gooey, folks. And
that's too much.
not too much has changed in that leader.
Simon Lazat was on there too. Negative
Fun hole
6.
Right here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just a 300 footer right down the middle. You really want to take it from left to right on a flex line if you want your best chance to get up there. But people are playing the sidearm kind of hyzer to the right side of the green just to give yourself a look. That's not going to happen on this card. These guys are pretty good with the backhand. You're going to see a few flexors. If it starts out on an hyzer to the left, you make it
Mid-range
that's why they're doing it.
flex.
Pushing right makes
Oh
gap
no,
right
big
big.
Z
Yeah,
predator.
a little bit of ground play issues
I mean-
there for Chris.
That's because this place just got put in yesterday, and there's just roots and.
Nadia's going to have to avoid slipping on his disc on the tee pad.
Oh, he slipped though, pretty bad right there.
Oh, boy. That is a very bad kick. Bad roll. That's
It's a bogey, at least.
as he would say, that's in Cambodia.
It's a stable disc.
Yeah. It's
Oh, needs to come back.
online all day. He just dreams of shots like this that have a slight bend right to left. Fairway driver is the disc of choice for most players with this low ceiling.
If you were a disc, what disc would you want to be?
What?
As Nico kind of pulls it just a hair.
Most of the
Looked
time,
like
I
he
wanna
leaned
be
back
Nick
on that.
Nico's throwing on this hole. I mean, this is a shape that we've seen him execute for
Yeah,
a long,
that's
long
letting
time.
one go. What in general?
I'd want to be the disc that just had the slowest, longest left to right turn for a big right hand backhand player. I just want to be like a Garrett Gurthie emperor, you know, just
And then, yeah, I guess that answers my question. Then whose bag would you want to be in?
I think when Garrett throws a distance shot, it's one of
Looks like Matteo has custom handlebars from a BMX
a Garrett Gurthie distance driver.
Love that.
or some bike.
Get up there.
Child's
nice
bike.
Shot there.
Looked pretty sick.
All right, we got some birdie looks now, and we got a long bogey look.
Chris, another effort for birdie, and this one just a little bit short. You know, on that same note, the last disc I'd want to be is anything that Anthony Burrell is ripping, because it's just like that's a turbulent ride.
Oh,
Sit down. Yeah, it's a turbulent ride, and it's like you want to be in there for a day. You want to go fast for a day.
Like Garrett Gurthie distance driver is like riding like an RV cross country, just a smooth long ride. Calvin off the top, and Matt Oram is going to be faced with a double bogey after he misses his
Calvin with the bogue.
really tough hole 8.
Oram with double bogue. Oh, that was scary.
Left side.
And that gives you a good perspective of how, like I said in the beginning of this, the rough here is the roughest you'll see almost anywhere. He had no way to go forward. He had to throw it directly sideways.
And that doubles on his third shot though. And
I mean,
he's just got to get closer.
But he's still taking bogey on his third shot, whatever.
Yes.
Like, the rough is so bad, there's no way to save the par unless he throws it in from 200 feet.
What are these guys doing leaving their discs on the tee? What is happening here? I feel like that's a strange trend that we're seeing here. Chris
Well-
Dickerson's still outclassing the card at 300.
I think it's because it's elevated tees, and so you'd have to jump down, put it, or drop it down farther.
Okay, interesting. Hole 9's this is a strange one. This is a very, I don't see anyone going this line, but maybe someone on this card might. But very, very tight tunnel down the right side with out of bounds down the right side the whole way.
Yeah.
Play is gonna
Scary
be
right side
flex, but it is such
OB.
a wide and high opening here that you really have to.
Oh,
Okay.
too low.
Do this.
Or am I wrong?
The problem is this is the scraggliest
I thought they would have went a
farthest
bit higher
tree
to try to.
in North America. I mean,
Crash
it
over
is
that
so
tree.
hard to get around this tree.
Yeah, one of the things I don't appreciate is when they
Something
give
like
you the
that.
little backhand.
But maybe a bit wider.
This isn't good.
No, this isn't.
Is it when people give you the straight shot, which if you throw it down there, nice. It's a nice shot. But then they put OB like 3
It's just-
inches to the right. Like, come on, give me a break, dude. Calm down.
Oh, this looks
Not that
good.
And yeah, you can just
Oh,
see
I
there's
niced him.
such a small window for this
Yeah.
flex play, and that straight shot is just not appealing to these players. Everyone.
Well, it's
looking-
because of the OB. I guarantee some people would go down there if there wasn't out of bounds 8 feet to the right.
and
Okay.
Leo's starting this wide enough, but it's just
Oh, that-
never going to get right enough. I don't think.
No, but that's
Hey, it
Yeah, I
works.
mean to have a putt from outside the circle.
That works, but he probably has a scary OB behind the net.
Closest on the card beforehand. I thought Chris Dickerson's line was pretty smart going the low play.
Look at this bomb of a putt. Jeez, that's a nice putt. That was way back.
He has been hitting some absolute bombs this season.
Yeah.
Calvin has been
He's doing everything
electric
Yeah.
on the putting green. And it's not even putting green anymore. That's the fairway green. But he's been making these big putts from inside 100 feet
right. I
all
mean,
season.
that's a tough little upshot for Nico. He had to hit a nice little gap there. I mean, anywhere on this hole. It's short.
If you're
It's
some,
awkward.
anywhere underneath the
Look at that.
scraggler, you can see that there's just a bunch of lines. I mean, like Chris is actually just straight up under it. If you're on the back side of the scraggle tree, you're having to get creative.
But even that shot he just threw is stressful.
Seems like
One
this
little
course is
mishap
playing
with that
pretty
touch
tough.
shot right there, a little early,
You need to get a few
little
lucky
high,
shots.
Below, you're talking about a 30-footer. You don't want that. Promise.
Matteo hoping he can knock down this putt from about 45 feet. A little jump and too high.
Oh,
This
he
thing's so
hates it.
slow down. As you can see, that out of bounds just 20 feet behind him. Matteo, after his solid start at 2 under through the first 4, which is just absolutely incredible out here, he finishes the front 9 at even par with a double and a single bogey. And Nico will wrap up his front at 1 over. This hole came in averaging even par, meaning there was only a single hole on the front 9 that actually played under par. I don't know the last
Wow.
time that's happened on tour, but that will just tell you how difficult this starting 9 is here at Friends at Millridge Park.
I bet you tomorrow though it'll play a bit better for them. They're just shaking off the jitterbugs.
You think it's gonna average that high for the rest of the tournament? No chance, right?
It's just,
There's just no
it's a
chance.
condition thing. I mean, I think, just what happens on tour is players, as they play the event, they get better. They understand how the scoring works, how the pacing works, the landing zones and all that. All the stuff you do in practice is great, but I feel like it's just
Who's this guy?
paramount to the actual tournament experience.
Bredge?
I do think these scores will improve throughout the week, but if the conditions don't improve, I mean, I wouldn't be too
Simon
surprised if they
Lizotte.
stay somewhat near where they're at right now.
So you.
Oh,
need
Gannon
to
Burr. I bet you Gannon
That's
Burr's
right.
gonna pop off too.
10 under. Maybe if the conditions get ideal, I think we could see an 11 under. But these guys are so good that it never surprises me. The hot round hardly ever surprises me these days.
Right.
But I think we'll see something in double digits by the end of the week.
Well, everyone's
Only thing
playing
was, if
negative,
you
it
thought
seems
first
like.
round there'd be double digits.
Okay.
So that's not too bad. Everyone's playing pretty good. Better than I would be, at least.
Disc and threw a flick roller.
Just changing to the back 9 here. Oh, no t-shirt for Calvin?
Hello and welcome back to round 1 back 9 action for the 2023 Music City Open presented by Lone Star Disc. Stop number 4 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We've got Big Barry commentary, Paul Newberry.
Hey, what you can see it is, and
That's just the way it goes these days. We've
Yep.
got Waco. Stop number 2 was the tightest event in Disc Golf Pro Tour history. Though that record was broken the next weekend at the Open at Austin, and we are showing another potential record breaker today if things stay the way they are, because there's no one really breaking out on that big hot streak yet.
I want to see someone big hyzer forehand.
Of course, a lot of these holes are similar to years past, but for a lot of players, this is a
Oh, I guess doesn't really look. Oh, it looked different on the drone.
154-foot straight shot that Chris just dissects with a nice little turnover.
That
being
was
said, he's
so
still
nice.
33 feet away.
Yep.
What I understand, they pushed this tee pad back, made this hole a little bit tougher.
Oh,
Calvin
Calvin.
slipped, and oh my goodness, it looks like someone in the tree grabbed his disc and threw a flick roller into the woods.
Calvin needs to focus.
That was a very bad reaction.
yeah, if you go
He
one
needs to
too
get on a
far,
little
don't
hot
touch-
streak.
Don't touch other people's discs.
Yeah, don't climb trees. Nico also at that 34-foot, 35-foot range. That will be an uphill putt with this tall basket.
Flip. Hey, got through that gap. I don't know what's over there. I don't know how hard that's going to be. I think it's going to be fairly easy to get up and down.
Okay, Calvin just straight up in the creek. Like, who cares? What?
Is he
He's
barefoot?
casual relief. What is the benefit here?
Well, I was in there.
Okay.
I'll tell you, the casual relief that gets you behind there, it leaves you absolutely nothing.
Wow.
So I had as well. I had
He
to get
took
in
off
there,
the shoes and
that
just
also
went
has
all
those
in.
Crazy thorns that are like, I mean, I don't even know how to explain them. They're nasty. It's just terrifying.
Matteo just happened to play the flick approach. Nico
Buddy.
What? I thought
Very good putt. It's like,
I
what did
guess
this
he was
land
outside
do
circle.
in another life.
Looked a
to
bit
learn
closer.
those things? Like,
Yeah.
jeez. Famine or something? Calm down.
It's just Mother Nature, man.
Here you go.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess this bucket accepting the putts today. Those are two really good ones. Really good.
Chris is going to be up there.
Birdie. Is this a
I wonder what day 2 looks like.
Be a good save. Calvin scrambling from the little creek there. I wonder if the
Calvin's so unimpressed.
the slickness of the upcoming drives, if that's going to be an issue. He's already playing in shoes that he slips and slides around in quite a bit. So he is accustomed to this slide, but yep. See how that affects him coming up.
That's middle. That's a middle putt from Chris. That's awesome. Even 4 under.
Yeah.
They're getting whipped right now by Chris.
I mean, it's the Music City Open. What else do you expect? A lot of expectations on Chris's shoulders, obviously. He just feels so comfortable in his home state and on any disc golf course in the world. Hole 11 is a par 3, 270 feet. This is the easiest hole in the course. This is a must-get considering we have just seen a bunch of doozies. Uphill, there's rock shelves that you just kind of clear the first couple and then you're home free. This is turning over towards those trees, kicks back, very rude.
Oh.
Still makeable uphill putt though.
Hurry.
Nope. Nico has a little luck. I don't think he's gonna like it.
You like this hole?
I think it's fine to have holes like this every once in a while on the tour. Just you step up and you got to get it. And right now we're seeing a bunch of players in this card not interested in getting it.
Yeah, but I mean,
In general, I think throwing in a hole like this that has that deuce or die mentality every once in a while, I think is fine.
yeah. I think it plays harder than it looks,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a gap you got to get through. So at least he has to look at it.
And Chris does slide that in on the right side.
Back-to-back jumpers.
And Music City Open, Miracle Man is off to races now. 5 under, and look at that thing just barely hanging on.
Big putt. Beauty.
His shirt has little music guys on there.
Yeah, that's
Nico
Nice
figures
little
out a way. Wow.
back-to-back steppers for Nico now, and that brings him
Nice.
under par.
He's a grinder.
Yeah, after that bogey start, he is.
Are these guys gonna figure out
Smooth.
What is happening right now?
how to get the par, how to get the
They-
star frame?
They got the memo on their deuce or die, and I think they're all interested in living. Let's see if Matteo can complete the star frame. Awkward stance, nails it.
Oh.
Okay.
Keeps
4
the
sub-par
footing.
drives and 4 sub-par
No foul.
results.
I like that.
Thank you. Through 11, we have now 4 players under par.
It's a great name for a company.
Subpar clothing. That is pretty good. Someone's gonna get on that one. for us. Hole 12, par 4, 618 feet up the hill through the tight gap, tree right in the middle, and you gotta get left. If you don't get left, access to this second shot is quite difficult. You have to just barely get around this corner if you want to have a close putt, but it is a very tricky little hole.
That basket seems like it hugs that right side near the end pretty tight.
Unless you're able to do that comfortably off the tee. That's going to set up about 310 feet.
Yeah, the gap's just small enough to make you super nervous. It's a tight one.
It is, yeah. I find it quite uncomfortable, but that's not my top skill set. These guys probably see this gap and
Oh my God, Calvin.
think feast.
Hitting all the trees.
Calvin, unfortunately,
If he has a run up, he can probably still get there. It's amazing. Oh. There it is. Give him the skip.
Low and skippy.
Or the left.
Had
guard.
speed to it.
No.
Calvin's just going to need to focus on keeping this thing left,
He does a pretty good job of it.
forcing the issue there with the angle. Those circle 2 flags that you see are for the FPO pin, so he still has a little bit of ways to go to save his par. But a good shot there.
If Chris gets it wide enough, I don't think this can swing in time for the circle.
Yeah, and you can just see how tight that is tucked around the corner. You really have to almost think that you've missed your shot to put it under the basket.
And that as well should be circle's edge or right outside.
Yep, putting downhill, a very fast putt from there, and it's pretty dangerous behind the pin. If you do miss everything, you could find yourself in a tricky position trying to save the par.
This is better, I think.
Much. For Nico, gonna have a short birdie putt. Calvin still has a blind approach though. He's gotta just get us barely around the corner, and that's fine, but flirting with danger.
Flirting with danger.
And once again, Chris just
Oh,
barely off the mark, but he's putting for birdie again. You know, he's just constantly putting himself in position. A lot of players are finding themselves in scramble opportunities. Chris has just been pretty comfortable.
A little low for Maddie as well. That's a good save.
Just in on the left side for Calvin, but like you said, that's a save he's going to be happy with, hitting that first tree.
Push or spin?
What did he do last time?
He spun it.
All right, then I'm going to go spin. And he is in. 3 birdies in a row now for Nico, 2 under. You mentioned on the front 9, anything under par out here feels good. All right, if you want to be in contention, you can see the leaders are still at 7 under.
I mean, if you can come off the course, you felt like you didn't play good, shoot 1 under, and you're only 6 back,
Yes,
that's fine.
it's fine.
It's absolutely fine.
oh yeah. I could totally see Chris making -7.
Okay. Hole
5 more
4,
holes.
616.
Just needs to get 2 more birds.
Hole 13.
Definitely
par 4.
doable.
616 feet up the hill we go through the gap. A lot of these guys can go over the top, but I don't know if they're going to do it with this wind. It's a better wind than in practice, so they probably are going to do it. This green's super tight. You get behind this pine tree. I think that's a pine tree on the right. I'm not. What do you call them? What do you call those guys who know trees?
I think it's a cedar. I'm not quite sure.
No, what are the guys called with the no trees?
Oh, dendrologists. Just kidding. I'm making some.
Whatever they are, that's not what I am. I promise you that. They
Arborist?
are going over, and that's just fine. It's
Yeah.
far to go over.
Yeah, that's a huge shot. Nicely done for Nico, just clearing the treetops, hyzering back to the middle.
I don't know if it was possible when I teed off. We were laying up short. He gets through.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's just fine. Anything past that gap is just terrific. If you're out in the
Really good.
green grass field, you're loving life.
He's gonna have no problem then.
The right word is
was gonna say arborvitae, but that's a tree. Son of a gun.
That is a tree. It's an upright arborvitae. That becomes a tree that we face at the DDO.
Yep. That's great. All really good shots. So here's what you pretty standard. Missed the tree on the right, which looks like a pine tree to me. And there you go. You don't.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tricky one to get his fourth consecutive, but a
He
little
can make it.
straddle out. Maybe Nico can make some things happen here. And a big skip, actually.
Disc golf.
Probably a little unfortunate to hit that tree. I think he would have been inside the circle left side, but either way, he's got to look for the birdie. That's looking pretty good.
If you want to be good at disc golf, let me suggest something. Learn how to throw a stable putter on Anheuser,
Nose up.
nose up.
Some
That way
frisbee
you
golf.
Throw a shot like he just did. Makes the gap big, land softly. If you can't throw that, I'm sorry, you're not going to have any chance at beating these guys.
Oh my
Or
god.
just at beating your friends. Your friends are going to beat you and they're going to laugh at you, and you're going to
Through that so far.
They're going to flex bosses in your face, make putts with mid-ranges, and beat you.
Chris.
Oh.
No, that looked beautiful. Just barely too high. I'm sure out of the hand that was a sure thing for Chris, but just not able to go in. And Matteo going long on his approach, you can see
He's so
how that
frustrated.
can bite you.
It's definitely closer to Nico.
They all have
Long
backpacks like
reach.
that.
That one baffling him a bit.
Here's a tiny Anheuser. Guess what? He's beating his friends.
Calvin, he has a new bag, this orange one.
A nice birdie
That-
for Calvin. Well
That
played
just
hole.
came out like this month.
And it's just slow.
It's like a
Two
$300 bag.
15 holes for Calvin.
He might end up 9 under somehow.
Yeah, it's just kind of how he's been playing this year. A lot of hot stretches. Just doesn't look like he's doing much, and yet his rounds are killer. This time it's just kind of hanging on. And I think that's a lot to be said about hanging on a course like this, where it's just kind of been punishing so many players throughout the course, throughout the day.
You ever played disc golf?
Still everyone on our feature group, round one remaining under par, and still the hot round in the clubhouse is at 7 under. Luke had that round in early, and I'm sure he thought people would be out there beating his score, but he is still hanging on tight. Him and Ezra, only 2 players at 7 under right now as we move on to hole 14, par 3, 375, but I think that's mismeasured. I measured this one to 345, and it is slightly downhill. But it's a flex forehand. I don't think we're going to see anyone go down the middle. There's just way more space on this left side.
It's pretty fun.
You got it. They're just out of bounds straight on the right side there.
Unless you hit a
Too
tree,
tight for you
and
to-
that sucks.
I think you're good enough to go down that middle.
Just too early for Calvin. You got to swing this thing out there left and just trust the overstability of the disc to fight back at the end.
I get what the course designer's doing. He's forcing you to go left.
Oh, he
he
shanked
pulls it.
that.
If you want to go down the middle, you're gonna have to throw it so good, is what he's saying. Like, you
Okay.
have to throw it so good
But
without
it somehow works out for him.
Wow, Nico actually gets into C2 with that effort. I thought that he would have hit those early branches and knocked straight down, but he
Yeah,
manages to get all the
And
way
what
up there.
pickleball looks fun.
Oh,
Seems
split.
like the adult version of ping
Not-
pong.
stable enough.
And I went to buy spike ball. It was freaking $90.
What do you think about that? Even having that route right down the middle with the LB.
I don't want to like buy it
Yeah, I
and
think
play it like
yes,
2
though. I mean, there's
times.
barbed wire there, so I mean, you either don't design the hole at all, or
You need some athletic friends to get into spike ball. Seems so exhausting.
Okay, that's a look. Muddy.
Yeah, good shot for Matteo.
Big gooey. Here we go. Annie. Ooh, that's not
Best effort.
Why didn't he just forehand?
stretching it out. Ow.
Easy up.
Bogey free will continue for Chris. Nico, an opportunity from range to get to 3 under.
Water version?
Good height
I never even heard of that.
right at the last second.
Maddie can't get nothing to stick right now.
Started to walk it in and just couldn't hang on.
Maddie just hitting all metal. Just needs one to go in.
Yes. Like those thorns, though, that are in the woods, they're terrifying. Like you could walk in there, oh, where's my disc? Doink right in the eyeball, you're blind for life.
With all the barbed wire you have on the course and all these dreaded trees that you keep talking about, this is a Shrike's playpen. This place is just filled with spiky things.
Yes, so
You're
terrifying.
going to be impaled.
There's also cactus you get relief from on one of the holes.
Cactus.
Cacti.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's
cacti.
cactus. Yes, there is. You don't see too much cactus here in Tennessee, but
Cactus. Yeah,
it
right.
doesn't really feel like we're in Tennessee with all these spiky thorns. It feels like we're just in the coldest version of Texas. Through 14 holes, Chris Dickerson
Gannon Burr.
won here at 5
See, I knew he was going
Been
to
in trouble the
pop
whole round.
off.
That is saying something on this difficult course in these windy, cold, dewy conditions. Hole 15.
This
is-
tournament right here is in Tennessee,
I
Nashville.
imagine throughout the week this will make its way up to the heart.
But BC has
Yeah,
a
I
really
agree with
big
that.
disc
Yeah,
golf
tough
scene.
one, man. Out of bounds left, out of bounds right. Thick woods as well. The boot. Tough right to left
No.
wind. Heiser play
I don't
off the-
think there's
off the
any
bat.
sports
Now,
betting.
over the OB, that's where you're going to
Not yet.
numbers from, or you can go down the middle.
I'm
These
sure
are gonna go wide Heiser, though, I think. Maybe a
Once
couple
it gets more popular.
Really good.
I like the wide hyzer with angle because when it spikes into that second landing zone, it really opens up the hyzer for that second shot.
You could probably put money on like the World
It is
Championships.
scary going hyzer because if you don't get it back in bounds, you're basically 40 feet off the tee throwing your third,
Yeah.
and it could be a really scary hole from there.
Oh.
Out of
Did
bounds.
it come in?
Don't know if it did or not, and that's the danger.
Oh. what?
Oh,
Oh, no.
he let go
Catch
too
the
early.
break or something.
Oh, it gets through everything, and it's actually in that money landing zone.
Wow.
I don't understand how it got there, but Chris
That's magic.
needs to look up towards the skies and say thank you. because
CS:GO?
that was incredibly
Probably like
That's
phase.
hitting the jackpot on hole 15, 777.
I'm honestly surprised how CS:GO is
Also,
still
corner. If that catches that
like
early
top 5 best
inside
games
line, he
competitively.
is dead to rights. But okay, so Nico, they're saying he did get inbounds momentarily, which is a huge 350-foot bonus.
I bet on CS:GO before.
Shot. This can be super dangerous.
Oh, he's fine. Putt. He's got a putt for par.
Oh, he's in the creek.
And, you know, you said out of bounds left, out of bounds right. There's certainly out of bounds right. The only thing that's really out of bounds is that left side is so thick that it nearly places out of bounds. But
On the other side of that little bush line, there's out of bounds.
I mean, it's like not really in play, is it?
Oh,
Well, some people have found it.
in, out, in.
Okay, I will say no more.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's over there. Matty-O.
This is just-
Can he get
Oh
It's
no,
just short.
No.
he hugged the inside too much.
Kind of a lot of birdies to be had on
All
this
right,
course.
Chris has 3 holes to get
Okay, so
2
this is what I was
birdies.
thinking.
Yes.
People going Heiser.
I think the best chance of
Uh-oh.
birdieing this hole
Tombstone.
is to get to that second landing zone. It opens up the big, high, wide hyzer. Chris is coming up short there.
And now with CS:GO 2 coming out, the game's gonna definitely pop off for like
Nice floaty bid for Calvin. That
at
was
least a
just
good year.
Short putt for the
Probably going more than 1.5 mil. It seems like Steam should have more gamers, but
his third, just throwing a little
I guess
nose
they're
up
competing with
speed,
console and stuff.
and he'll walk away with a comfortable score here.
10 mil seems small.
Not a lot of birdies to be had, but
But I
He's
bet
down.
PlayStation has like
4 of them
10 mil and
scattered throughout this round.
Xbox too, I
Chris
guess.
Just puffs the
That
left
looked
side cage.
Perfect. That looked perfect to me.
This round could be so different for Chris. If he was dropping all these putts, he'd already be 10 under.
Yeah. Oh,
Riot games, what? League of Legends, Valorant.
That will be
you go swinging that arm
That-
around in there, dude, with those thorns.
They have a big competitive scene.
Stuck to the tree, they're going to have to surgically remove it.
True.
He will have to drop a shot, though, here. The 15th hole.
Not a bad bogey for almost just
No,
going, never coming in.
I mean, and bogey would have been absolute. It would have been a great score if he hadn't crossed back in bounds on that tee shot and just stayed out of bounds the whole way. You're looking at double bogey almost guaranteed.
Yeah. Played with a couple people who did that exact thing.
Oh, there are some Doblinas out there. There are some triples, some doubles. There are all sorts of big, scary scores.
And some birds. There's
Yeah,
a crazy amount of birdies in this.
19 players
much
with a bird.
blue.
Yeah, too much. Honestly, like a disconcerting amount of birdies. On
I can't
this
think
hole.
of 19 players that could even birdie that didn't cheat.
That's not reasonable. A
Whoa.
lot more sixes on that scoreboard now. You're seeing.
There was over 10
tags as
people
the
tied for
start to show
second.
As we step up on a very fun ace run. Hole 16, second easiest hole on the board.
Island shot.
Just a downhill.
That looks fun.
dart.
and scary.
You have the backstop there. Why not throw it in? If you do, I think you win like a guitar or
I think a Gibson
motorcycle.
guitar.
A Gibson guitar, not a motorcycle. Cool.
A motorcycle. You could ride a motorcycle with a guitar on the back. Would be tough.
Heiser, big
Heiser.
spikes coming up here for Calvin. Why
I,
not?
Up.
Okay.
oh,
That's really
nice. I totally thought he would have went straight on.
This essentially plays as lawn darts for these guys. Wonder, yeah, it looks like Chris is indeed lining up the straight play.
Mid range?
He got it.
He's
That's
throwing
the
a
shot
putter.
today. Right at it.
300 feet putter.
Yeah, wind was favorable for it, and like you said, it's just a lawn dart. I mean, just go right at it. You got the
Nice.
backstop there. The straight play makes a lot of sense if you feel comfortable with it.
I don't know how he's throwing
Did
putters.
you go sidearm over the top
I actually went. I didn't practice it, but I went AVR X3 straight at it.
with the sidey?
Just yeah, because the conditions seemed right for it. It was a little bit of a left to right tailwind.
Oh no!
And Matt Oram is gonna miss.
Oh,
That
Matt.
is devastating.
Yeah, that seems like a shot that he wouldn't miss. He's having a tough back nine though. Nico going. This is also easy. I mean, if you have the right disc,
Yep, just a
pretty
little
easy
spike.
shot.
And he's going to have to work a little bit on the green to get the birdie. Mattio's going to have to work a lot here. Downhill, super scary putt from this drop zone to save the par and remain under par. Oh, yeah. All right.
What a putt!
He's
Saves
knocking on
it.
the door all day and finally gets one to fall in there. Great commitment. That is such a scary putt. I think you can start to see how much slope there is on this green. And Nico sails this one. Wow.
How does
Scary.
he switch? He's got to switch to the push from there. Yep.
That's
Yeah,
a
at least he got
solid
the par.
comeback putt after missing the easier downhill putt going uphill for the par, and he connects. Calvin in for the birdie. And Chris finally moves to 600. It looks like he's been knocking on the door to get that 600 mark for a long time. Just
Dinking on
yeah,
all those
just
circle
so
two putts.
close,
Yeah.
so many times. But finally,
All
he does
right.
get to that number, and that puts him one
So at
shot
least he's
off
only
the
one
lead.
shot behind.
I just think the plastic is very premium.
I think it's the quality of plastic.
It's unlike any other plastic that you'll find in the industry.
It's something I can consistently trust.
You're gonna want to put multiple discs in your bag.
You can only say so much where they have to eventually just try it themselves and see.
I wonder if that's why Nico's on the coverage of this feature card, just because it's Lone Star discs.
You go out of bounds here, you can see it's kind of this whatever shape that is.
It's a bean.
It's a bean-shaped hole there, and if you go out of bounds, you take it from where you last were inbounds.
Yes.
So no island, but today it's playing tough, straight left or right to left
Right to
headwind.
left headwind, yeah. And
It's it's just an awkward distance. It's like if it was 300, it's kind of easy shot, but that 350,
Yeah, sure.
your disc kind of get a little squirrely. But
Calvin.
that's easy. It's easy for these guys right here.
That is a very well thrown forehand. The amount of exposure to the wind that you have on this hole, with the basket being blind, and just like the feeling of how easy it is to throw it out of bounds, makes this shot uncomfortable. It should be kind of a drop in the bucket, but it doesn't play that way. Chris, a lot of flex. How overstable is this? Quite. Yeah, okay. 25 feet away. You'll have that to get to 7 under. I
Oh,
like the height on this one.
pretty wide, but
I like the
looks
width.
good.
And the result is pretty good inside the circle.
Oh, got a little turned, but
I don't think.
Oh.
Oh, look at that.
oh wow,
That's friendly. That is friendly.
Those walls are typically
Saved
not that
him.
friendly. Nico getting away with one
Oh, it's
there.
bizarre. It's like you hit those walls nowadays and they don't pop you back in. It's very rare.
Not typically. Nico, fortunate. Can he take advantage of it? Knock down the putt. He can. A birdie for Nico.
nice bird.
Well done. I mean, not only, if that wall's not there, not only is he going to be out of bounds, he's actually going to be about 20 feet farther back.
Yeah.
The wall actually kicked him forward and closer to the pin.
Oh, every
Just-
time, Matt.
It's, you know, it hasn't been a horrible round for Matt. It just hasn't been what we typically see with him. You know, that's what we're seeing is about average for the course. Oh,
No.
no, sit down. Wow.
Oh, his nerves are gone.
Chris has not dropped
Okay.
any of the short ones today. That's the
One
first
more
real
green for him to
I would
tie
nearly classify
first.
that as an egregious putting mistake for him because he knocks those things down for a living.
Yeah, I mean, he's an inch off on the right side, down left to right slope. You hit it on the right side. I think it's leaning a little bit, it looks like. I mean, that's just, it is.
Yeah,
Calvin could have had such a nice score if he didn't get all those bogeys.
Yeah, sure.
not.
Egregious might be too dramatic of a word, but it's
We
certainly
just
a
get
putt
so
he's thinking.
used to these guys making everything, but it's
Yeah.
a tough putting
No
round.
doubt.
It's gooey out, and these guys are slipping everywhere. It's just tough, man. People miss putts. I'm sick of the narrative that putting's so easy and everybody makes it every single time.
Look at this. We have 8 people, 9 people with Dickerson, all tied for third. 1 stroke off the lead, or for tied the lead. I wonder if there's more. They might scroll down here.
And yet we watch the best players in the world. Calvin's missed a bunch of
No,
putts
there's
this round, and he's so good at putting.
Hole
tight.
18. Par
It should space out a bit more
That's it.
around 2 though.
and bombs away.
Putting's tough. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're going to move on to hole 18. now.
Okay.
723 feet. Just smack one up the hill. Stay right if you want to have a good angle for your approach. But I just got to go ahead and say this. Anthony Barella on my card went ahead and took it personal and threw the dang thing 580 feet. I lasered it. It's 30 feet uphill where he landed. 580 up 30. I don't understand how someone even can do that.
How far did he have into the hole?
He had nothing. He had 46 feet to the hole. No, he had like just this shortest approach that I didn't even think it was possible to get that close.
That's hilarious. That guy had some arm speed.
Just a, par 4 for the finish.
Nico put a little extra
Yeah.
on that one.
That is a good distance line for Nico. Look at that. Past Calvin, and those are just in ideal
Nice.
landing zones.
Yeah, chip hyzers from there. Chip sidearm hyzers.
Chris has got a ton of power too. Doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but he knows how to manipulate the disc, and he can get him out there pretty far too. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, he's got just as far off the tee, just the angle is farther.
All 3 throws, kind of a similar shot.
And this is a guy I've been really impressed with his distance lately. If he keeps this thing moving right, Yeah, it's gonna start hyzering, but
There's a gap open.
And then there's
there.
Matt.
He doesn't-
could be a lean out forehand. I think he's gonna
I
have
think
something.
that's bad.
Okay, he's got a little scramble, but all right, Chris is gonna hit the cage.
This is pretty far. Probably 360.
Gets the gap.
Probably 330. It looked like.
Skip. Oh,
Edge of the circle once again. Chris Dickerson just never put himself in any danger. All round. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, he had nothing.
oh. Gets a roller, but
I
He's-
don't believe that was intended to be a flick roller.
he's got some magic to
Really?
work.
I think it was. He just did a first down move
Oh, so okay.
and said, "That's all I got."
I think that was intended to be a flick roller.
Good guess. This thing stabs. Oh, that's pulled.
Coming in. Really,
Oh, Calvin.
really fast disc choice. I think
He's
hit
gonna
so
go
many
with a
trees.
Low skipper.
Even if he misses that, he's going way past.
Nico, he's gonna
Oh.
just flex around that tree and does it hyzer in time?
Wow.
Sure.
Misses by inches. Kisses the second tree.
Under.
Parked it.
Patio to save the par and finish under par for the round. That was just a scrappy day for Matteo.
Yeah. I mean, he was off for the races first few holes, and then he just kind of got into the rough a bit too much and
Kind of like the
miscues.
exact opposite day that Chris has had. You know, like where this has just been kind of a walk in the park, and you know, the opportunities have been there for him all day.
Come on, Chris.
Solo lead.
Yeah.
Off right side. No, not solo lead. That would have been tie for the lead.
Oh, wait, it came out?
Sorry, I was
But if he
looking
makes
right.
those
right.
two
Oh,
putts,
no.
if he makes the
He
two putts
chained
on
out.
17, 18, he does have the solo lead, and that would have been with 4 or 5 other missed opportunities. So Chris just really off the tee, a solid day. Nico finishing the round with his birdie,
Sneaky 3.
a Sneeko. A little Sneeko LaCastro. Calvin with a slow day shoots 4 under, and he's
Looks
only
pretty
a
dark.
couple off the pace.
Yeah.
They played
I mean,
right
that's
to
just how he
fucking
is. It's just
sunset.
that talent where he doesn't have to do much for what we expect of him, at least.
Chris
Still
so
in contention.
enthusiastic.
I mean, 2 back of Chris's round, and they just had
Yeah.
completely different days.
That's clear
Oh,
on the
as
feature
if he
card.
chained out
3
for
over
the
par,
for
4
tying
under,
the
3
lead.
under, 1 under, 6 under. That's good shooting. There's a red on there, but Calvin just with the one mistake.
Yep.
A lot of missed putts, but one mistake there.
That's true. And there
Chris
it
played
is.
bogey free.
The leaderboard, 7 under. It stayed all day long for Luke Humphreys and Ezra Aderhold. But I believe I heard that this is, again, another record breaker. The most number of players within 1 shot of the lead after the first round of an Elite Series event. 13 players within 1 shot.
13 players.
And then another,
One stroke
a
behind.
whole bunch. 17 within 2
That's
shots.
crazy.
20th is 4 back.
Yeah, it opens up.
I'm just gonna see if Gatekeeper has put up anything. So they have Macbeth, Keith, Hamas, and Newsom.
Welcome to Gatekeeper Media's coverage of the Music City Open, presented by Lone Star Disc. This is the 2023 edition on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and I'm Andrew Fish, and I want to extend a very warm welcome back to the tour to Nathan Queen.
Yes, and I'm very excited to
Nathan
actually
Queen.
physically be out here at the Music City Open. Very exciting event for me to come back to, and a pretty exciting layout that we've got here. They've made some changes in the last few years that the course have come out, and fun to play.
Yeah, this is going to be a temporary layout on the Mill Ridge Park.
I bet Macbeth could play this course pretty well.
Everyone everyone is vying for those Pro Tour standings.
I don't remember seeing him on
get
the
yourself to
leaderboard,
the
but
match play event
I
at the
feel
end of
like
the season and
he's
Pro
got
Tour
some good
Championship at the
drives
end
for
if you
this
can.
course.
Emerson Keith, sponsored by Lone Star Disc, our title sponsor. He'll be putting with the Blue Bonnet, and it's going to be a pretty windy day, so expect to see a lot of use out of those bayonets, possibly a Seguin.
And no surprise here, Paul Macbeth making his way back to gatekeeper coverage again this year, putting with the Luna. See some buzz mid-range shots. See that Zeus and Force for those long distances.
Adam Hammis, sponsored by Discraft. He'll be putting with swirly CT Jawbreaker focuses. We know he's very proficient with his zone upshots and leans on the Onyx and Force for his distance shots.
And then Raven Newsom, North Carolina player, going to be putting with the Anode. Pretty much going to stick to the Pyro for his mid-range shots. Probably see some Wave Photon and then that Defy for a lot of those distance shots. Brings us straight into hole 1. A 668-foot par 4. You've got to go up and out to the right is the ideal line. OB all down the left side. Depending on the wind is going to really depend on how far you can get off of this tee shot.
On the tee from Pilot Point, Texas, Emerson Keith.
As I understand it, Emerson was dealing with a little bit of an injury, so not going to throw many forehands, and I think he's also playing this layout blind.
There are a few holes that are the same from past years, but also some brand new things this year.
Yeah, about half the course was the same, although in different order. Keith is going to go with a hyzer over the right side, and the wind is coming off of his left shoulder. So it's kind of hard to make a whole lot of distance as high as you have to throw this.
Huntington Beach, California, Paul Macbeth.
Paul keeping that one a little bit tighter, trying to counteract that left to right wind, but you see still getting packed down. Going to be hard to get much distance today.
On the tee from Minocqua, Wisconsin, Adam Hammis.
Yeah, this is a pretty non-specific landing zone. There's so much room out there. The only real mistake is to get bogged down early or go out of bounds left. And then the late gap, kind of working your way back up to the right. Since everyone is competent with a forehand or Emerson having to work a backhand, there's definitely a chance to get this, but you need to just not get in trouble.
And rounding out our 303 tee time from Hot Springs, North Carolina, Raven Newsom.
Yes, with the wind keeping these drives short, they're still going to be close to 400 feet for these up shots. Unless you go big, there's a big turnover. You could go over OB on the left side the whole way if you do want to get aggressive.
Raven is going to show us that shot. I saw him lining this up in practice, and he's just trying to make his miss right, if at all.
And the wind is helpful for this today, but he's got this turned over too much. As far as getting it to float out, he does get way up the hill up there. Maybe able to go spike hyzer over top now.
Spike hyzer, roller, forehand, everything's in play. And that was just a spectator rope. It is not out of bounds.
Emerson from way back is going to go with that roller play.
A roller?
Looks to be laid down pretty well.
Wow.
Nathan, we saw a little splash of water as that got to the ground. We should note that there was pretty muddy conditions after some significant rains during the last couple practice days. Is that going to play a factor in how players approach?
It definitely could. You can see some spots off of the tee that are wet that you need to avoid, but if you get in some of those muddy spots, you're going to be throwing some standstills over some places you'd rather throw with a run up. As Paul catching some of that hidden wind down here. I saw this a bit earlier today too. With discs right here, you can't really feel the wind, but as soon as you get about 20 feet in the air, that disc can, and they're getting flipped up and drug over to the left.
And again, noting there's an out of bounds line left there. Ham is kind of overcorrecting. This isn't going to make it all the way to the basket. And he's actually stuck short on the corner here. Early creativity required.
Yeah, trying to get tricky and immediately catches some of that mud that you were just talking about.
I don't mean to will things into existence like so.
We did see Raven try to go over top with a forehand. He is now in some very thick foliage there. Is able to get out. Not sure he's going to have much of a putt though.
Yeah, Nathan, can you tell us about what's the character of this rough? What are these greens like?
If you're in this rough, it's usually OB, and that's a good thing because it is very rough. You saw Raven barely had much room to swing around, and Adam Hammis,
holy cow,
carding the par. What a way to get a par on hole 1.
His putt distance is longer than his third shot.
Wow.
Triples it, I think.
So long.
Some of these greens, they have a bit of that foliage or that rough around them where if you get into it, you're pretty much trying to lay up. Sometimes you might not even be able to get out.
Yeah, very conservative bid from Keith. And Raven already having to go to this little forehand flex.
Yeah, this could be dangerous if he gets too aggressive. Not too aggressive, gave it a pretty good run, and should have a bogey cleanup here.
Raven. I don't think I even seen this name before.
This front nine was eating a lot of good players' lunches, so you can afford to take a bogey or two, but try to limit it. And then there are more scoring opportunities on the shorter back nine. Hole 2, a par 4 at 723 feet. There's so much open space here, but it's lined out of bounds right and left. As you approach this gap, there's going to be a gentle downhill slope, pretty muddy green, OB barbed wire to the right, and then a peninsula green. It's key to hold your disc as far to the right as you can in order to make that angle approaching the green playable. Don't really like this. It seems like it could run left.
Does just sneak out of bounds there and gonna be at a bad angle to be able to get to the pin from there also. Like you were saying, you really want to hug right, and even when you do hug right and land in a spot to hit this gap, it's such a difficult gap.
Yeah, it's a low ceiling. You've got a crosswind to manage. It's a pretty shaggy right side, and if you overcompensate, you're going to go OB left somewhere.
And Adam really trusting the stable forehand. There's kind of a left to right wind, headwind-esque right here. He's going to be a little bit farther left than he wants to be right there.
Raven uncorks one. This is well thrown. I think this is going to leave him in pretty darn good position to attack the gap.
Yeah, and Paul, he's going to be probably close to 400, well, 380. He stayed back a little bit here. And just look how long and straight this gap is. It's so difficult to hit with the downgrade that you have too, or the downslope.
Ham is going to go flex forehand with a Raptor.
Nice.
What?
What?
What a fun reaction.
That was beautiful.
Skipped way up in the air. Going to be inside circle 2. looking at a 45-footer or so.
Yeah, and that's a really good outcome. This hole was not giving up very many birdies at all. Raven hits the left side, but will kind of nestle in the middle. Should give him a pretty routine layup from about 150.
Emerson taking his lie back from the OB a little bit just to get a slightly better angle, but no matter how far back he went, I'm not sure he was going to have a good enough angle to be able to reach the pin. So trying to get up and down for the bogey now, unless, no, up and down for bogey.
Yep. And I think philosophically, tap-in bogey is not too terrible.
After an OB drive, feels pretty acceptable. Like you were saying, not many birdies on this one today. Paul with a long chance here. Doesn't connect, but the third most difficult hole, only 12 birdies.
And in a field of well over 100, that's a super low percentage. We're not seeing many holes like that on the Pro Tour thus far this year. Good knockdown from Raven.
Got a par cleanup from Paul there as well. You see this nice mulch they've put down to spare us a little bit of the mud that could be out here.
Yeah, and mud is omnipresent. Golf carts getting stuck. I saw a couple tow trucks to relieve some vans and cars that have been stuck in parking lots. Not to mention wet feet everywhere.
Oh yeah, I believe there was a food truck that got stuck into an interesting hole 3 here. Very specific shot. You're going to need an overstable disc, sort of, that then fades at the end. But there's kind of 3 trees in the middle. If you can get something on a straight line, drifting right, that's going to fade at the end, just left of those 3 trees. That's it if you can get it to fade. That's the shot, and that's it. There's not another shot.
No, it seems like Paul's going for the conservative, like mid or putter, and hoping for maybe a 40-footer. If you get that, then you've kind of won the hole. Adam's going a more aggressive play with a Raptor.
That's the shot.
Yeah.
That's the overstable disc, but he did stay in bounds. There is some OB lining the entire fairway, including long, and that's just
what?
it from Adam Hammis, and
That seemed like a weird.
There from Raven.
Why would he
I
forehand?
don't think he is going to now either, but I don't. The righty forehand doesn't make much sense to me.
I saw one work on my card, but it was a pretty incredible flip up. Heath is going to test out of bounds the entire way. You see this is carrying around, and the crosswind's going to hold that out.
Oh no, and he was already throwing 3 there after kicking OB off at the tee. So he's throwing 5 from where the drop zone's at.
Oh, he just rethrows.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Gets the same shot twice.
And
Oh no.
changing tactics here. Now throwing 7.
7.
Oh no, I feel his pain.
I think at this point,
Just go
the best
home.
thing he can do is avoid throwing the state that he's in. You don't want to see a 10 on the card.
Is he throwing for 8?
You.
It's terrible. I understand.
Oh,
So
he's
at some
okay.
point during a hole, I'm curious.
At least
can
he
you just
got
withdraw
circle
from
1.
the hole and take your par plus 4.
No, you cannot. But if you could, I think Emerson might have signed up at some point. Raven's got to go a weird, funky stance. Isn't able to pull it all the way to the right.
At 10.
Now
Did they just cut you off at 10?
I was out here a week earlier than a lot of players, and they did so much underbrush cleanup on this hole. But it is still incredibly difficult to navigate if you're not in the fairway. There's so many little trees.
Yeah, I feel like this hole is a microcosm of the course, and that it's trying to bait you into doing something too aggressive. And honestly, I really like that there is a sub 300 hole that's frustrating so many good players.
The hardest hole on the course today. And Adam Hammis does not care a bit. Gonna take his birdie. Fantastic fairway driver shot on a sub 300 foot hole.
And Emerson's going to knock in his 9, Paul for his 3.
Hey everybody, Emerson Keith here with Team Lone Star. I wanted to let y'all know about my new tour series.
Hole 4 is our first par 5. It's playing at over 1,100 feet, 50 into a anti-flex shot. That should again
1,100 feet.
with a chance to throw a hyzer to
Way
an
too
elevated
far.
basket. This is a pretty solid scoring hole despite its distance because none of the shots are that imposing. Hammis is going to leave this high and hyzer. We'll need to check before an out of bounds line to the left.
And checks up nicely. We should have a bit of a tailwind right to left wind on this hole. But that wind's kind of blocked unless you get up over top of these trees. If you throw a low line drive like Paul here, you're not going to feel much wind until your second shot when they go up over top.
Definitely. And Paul keeping it low, able to get the distance without the crazy fade on it. There's, I don't know, 70 feet difference between those two shots. Not just distance, but left, right. And they're both fine. They're both in good position.
And this is not heading towards a good position. Does fade out to stay from OB, but he is pinched off behind a little jut out there and gonna have to turn over earlier than you'd like to.
As you noted, wood line and out of bounds line pretty much match here on the right. Keith with a good shot, runs himself out to the left. So from here, the challenge is knowing what the wind is going to do to your disc at the apex of its flight. It needs to be holding over for about 80% before it begins to fade and kind of gets picked up again.
And played nicely. Ideally, if you have a better drive, you're going to want to get a little bit farther up and right of where he landed at so you can see the pin. But he is going to have a nice backhand hyzer in.
So somewhere in the mid 300s, I would expect. Paul pushes for a little more distance, and he will be blind to the basket, but again, routine hyzer.
Adam's got a chance to go pretty big here.
Yeah, great angle.
Oh, and that wind. He got the flight plate over, and a bit of that right to left caught it and just smacked it down. Still going to be across that little creek and in a spot to throw a hyzer, but a little bit farther back.
And this seems pretty ambitious. It's flexing out early. Toward one's fairway. And yeah,
that's stalled out way too early.
He'll be throwing 4, and it's going to take relief along the line of play.
Looks so windy. I hate the wind.
Yeah, still a difficult shot to reach from where he's at. And he does a great job, gets up pretty much around that corner, may still be in those little stragglers there. But has an opportunity to save his bogey.
Hammis swinging a hyzer, and this is going to get lifted by the wind, and he'll want it to dig. Appears that it does near circle's edge. Definitely have to trust your width with the stable disc out to the right.
Yeah, that OB Creek does follow up and down to the left side of this basket as well. Emerson pushing it, but looks like he stays in bounds also.
Macbeth, I think this is a captain's raptor.
Oh.
Nearly rings up for 3, but also runs to the back edge.
Yeah, and here's some of that rough. Difficult to get out of if you're in it. Macbeth just on the edge there. Gonna be dropping in his par. And that's a tough putt. Elevated basket.
Uphill.
Uphill into a headwind.
Emerson's
Wow. Raven Newsom.
9 strokes on hole 3.
What a par. That was a par save.
1, 2, 3.
That's just brutal.
Yeah.
It's
Not often when you
so
throw OB on
unfortunate.
your second shot, not by the pin, are you going to be able to save your par.
Yeah, well, and that's something Raven's really known for. Not the saving par from weird situations, but that circle 2 putt.
Definitely so. And shows you why right there.
Oh.
Adam Hammis.
It was on a good line, wasn't it?
It was that headwind though, uphill.
And that leaves almost the same distance on his comeback putt for par.
Feels much easier with the tailwind. Still not an easy putt, but feels easier.
Yeah, and he's also level with the basket there.
Yeah, and this hole, although you said more scoreable, 23% of the field did birdie this hole. Still averaged over par though, enough people took the bogey. Moving into hole 5, 580 in between that. Like they've tightened the basket up closer to the OB little pond there. And a couple two specific shots that you've got to hit here.
Yeah, neither of them particularly long.
Right. Adam, I think, is in a good spot.
Yeah, looks like he'll be able to swing another Raptor hyzer, I imagine.
2 feet can make a pretty big difference right here
No
on
doubt.
what type of angle you have towards this green. I know that Paul should be good from there. He's a little bit farther than where Adam was at and should be looking straight through that center gap.
Yeah, the closer you push to this tree line, the closer you get to the basket, but the more you're kind of taking your life into the gap's hands.
And there's one of those 5 foot difference type of things. He is kind of dead center on one of those piles of trees there.
I think I like this hole as well. It's kind of making you play the par 4 backwards with a short shot followed by a longer shot. And if you play a little wider like Paul did, it tends to be safer.
It's a bummer. Had to do an upshot.
Yeah, this second shot. can
Paul
get a
had
little
such
tricky
better
as well.
placement.
There's OB pretty close all the way around it.
Just parks
Tendency is
it.
going to be to push long, avoiding that OB that you can see just short of the basket. So dialing up that distance is a little tricky, and it looks
Looks
like
a
he
bit
might have
short.
slipped right there.
Oh.
Hammis is going to
Oh, no.
corner. Raven once again the last to throw his tee shot, but from the weirdest, or second shot, but from the weirdest angle. Has to
Oh, no. Needs to flatten
a lot
out.
of Anheuser.
That looks nice if it's not too far,
That's unfortunate.
but it is
that's
too
rough.
far. So he's closer to the pin this time. but gonna have another opportunity to save par after going OB on the second shot. Emerson, nice up and down for his par there.
This will be a crosswind left to right. And almost managed perfectly.
Yeah, nice confident bid. Is also for par. Not quite able to get it high enough.
No, Macbeth.
Everything but in for Macbeth. He got some band, he got a lot of chains. You see the frustration as he kind of turns away.
Emerson needs to clean up that 9. Need some birdies.
Yeah, so 587, definitely on the shorter side of par 4s that we see. Averaged over par today, 4.03.
I said at the beginning, this the front 9 especially was going to make some good players look bad. Hole 6, another par 5. Once again bounded by out of bounds almost the entire way around the hole. The idea is to throw a high or a 4.
Yeah, we've seen this on Jomez, so I'm just skipping through that.
Pretty open green. Paul is going to go much too straight here. And that leaves just a host of weird options for a second shot, none of them desirable.
I'm interested to see what he's going to try to pull out there. He doesn't do layup stuff too often.
No.
Yeah, if he stayed about 80 feet back, 80 to 100 feet back of that, he'd be in a good spot. Emerson is doing the same thing.
Yeah, that may be something that playing blind has hurt him.
Yeah, maybe nobody told him that Paul's was bad.
Yeah. Hamas is going to correct, and I'm sure get it more to the left side. He goes Heiser, but Nathan, this looks like it's stood up and is short.
Just got to push.
Just does squeak into the
What?
landing zone, and that's a great angle now.
I thought that was going out for sure.
Spot. It's hard to really get a lot of distance on that second shot unless you get exactly where you want to, because there is OB all on that right side. Here we are again.
Now, it's possible they know something I don't.
I don't think they do.
Raven going to go to a forehand. His flight plate's going to kind of get knocked down, but if he executes this well.
Good? Medium? Okay.
Medium.
Yeah, medium good. It didn't get far enough right that he's going to have a straight look at the pin. Still going to have lots of angles to deal with.
Hamas to slug a forehand straight at the wall of trees and break right. Does it well. That'll leave him about 280, 300 into the bucket.
Yeah, but showing what I was talking about, not able to get a lot of distance off of that shot, really.
Creative choice by Emma.
Hey, it works.
Going over OB.
Through the trees, too.
Yeah, he went through this wall of trees right here. And there is OB on the other side of it. That's just getting packed way down.
Yeah, never held the height. So Paul goes out of bounds. I believe that's to the left side.
Wow.
It's just a jungle of trees over there.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be in that jungle, but he went OB way early left of it.
And this
Macbeth.
probably
McBeast.
400 feet.
Oh,
Okay.
sweet.
Circle 2.
Yeah.
Tombstone.
That's a great hyzer. You can't see anything from where he was at. Here's some more of those funny angles, and this is not enough angle.
No, that's going to flex out into the out of bounds. Or, yep. Finds the corner.
Yeah, looks like it does get around the corner, though, and far enough to have a look at the basket.
Hammes has played the hole well enough so far that he gets a straight-on look. Puts him in Hammes zone territory, and this is kind of easy money for him, right?
Looks like it. Inside circle one. Gonna have himself another birdie opportunity, trying to bounce back from that last bogey.
And Keith, well done. A little bit of a runaway green here as it slopes off behind, but still inside the circle.
Raven for the par.
What?
And,
Massive.
all right, so now he's gone OB on the third shot and saves the par on this par 5. What a putt.
Yeah, if you watch that back, look how well connected his hips and arm are. Paul, he mentioned that his circle 2 putts were just holding straight. They weren't falling the way he expected them to. Emerson for the good birdie.
If nothing else, Raven can say he big putted Paul on the front 9.
Yeah. Take your victories where you can.
Adam Hammes looking for a victory here for the birdie.
Yeah, and you see that even at 1 down, he's in 11th place right now through 6 holes.
Yeah, during my practice rounds, I was kind of thinking survive the front 7. Then you get a stretch of some birdie holes. But the birdie holes still have some trouble as well.
Looked like a lot of that left side.
It did look like a lot of chains.
Kyle Klein stepping up for the birdie on 18. Your Open champion, Gannon Burr.
Another record-setting weekend on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Back-to-back weeks. Winner coming from the chase card. Pretty special stuff. Gannon Burr, Kyle Klein, 2 young superstars on tour, showing you how to get it done.
Welcome to Music City Disc Golf. We are a 501c3, including we would like you.
But park just outside the circle over there on the right side. Pretty far downhill. I played this in a headwind today. I'm not sure what it is right now.
Yep, heady, a little bit across.
Difficult to reach it in this headwind. It is quite downhill, but you gotta figure out how to ride it exactly right.
Yeah, this one is amazing how much the wind dictates your play. The trees on the right don't let you throw the driven hyzer. So if it's this headwind, you're throwing way up wide and high. But if it's a tailwind, you can just throw a mid-range to the bucket.
Maybe you can.
I'm not known as a big arm, Nathan. Hammes also going to swing wide, and that's going to come up short, but inbounds, kind of no harm, no foul. Don't do anything crazy on a day like this.
Yeah, pretty generous as far as the OB lining each side. All of that tall grass is inbounds. You've just got to make sure you can find it within 3 minutes.
But around the green, it does get a little more cluttered with obstacles and the OB pinches.
This needs to get down.
Yeah, OB left for Raven.
Was Paul confused there for a second?
And Paul, plenty of height, driven well, but a lot of hyzer.
I think he needed
Paul's
this
a bit short.
Wider, and it would have been a pretty good shot. He's going to be kind of stuck behind those trees now. Raven in a difficult spot. Not quite able to navigate it like he was wanting to.
No, now in circle 2, and this isn't really a green that you want to be running. He will be faced with a headwind putt also.
Adam, you are crazy.
I thought it was really good.
I thought the same thing you did. Didn't expect bullseye, expected chain high run.
Yeah, that sat down nicely though. Looked like a full run the whole way. Emerson getting up and down nicely. Paul is probably going to give this a chance. He doesn't do the layup stuff too often. And not a bad bid. Also leaves it pretty close.
Three bids that looked pretty honest and get themselves routine tap-ins.
Oh, and just a little bit too awkward for Raven there, and he caught another rollaway. A little bit of a tester here now for his double bogey. Does collect that.
Raven.
Not positive, but I think the least birdied hole.
Tied for 101.
Hey guys, Paul Macbeth here.
Payless.
If you get a chance, go over to check out paulmacbethfoundation.org. We got some cool projects coming up. You can always use donations, whether it's financial, disc, or even just manpower.
A little bit up. I imagine we're going to see 4 shots that play with a little bit of left to right action early in the flight.
Yeah, I really like overstable mid-range or fairway here with this right-handed backhand. Just like this.
Yeah, this is gorgeous. Does find the middle tree, but will have a putt. What is this, Nathan?
I imagine a really flippy disc if he's throwing a forehand. Gonna go for a hyzer stand-up. And,
Not as flippy as he wanted.
What a counter skip. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he planned that. Totally.
Yeah, that's great.
That was meant to be. Just hit the tree.
So
kick out.
I do throw lefty backhand. I go with a understable disc there just to try to push it up that fairway. Doesn't shape quite as well as this right-handed
Paul had
backhand
no
shot.
flex. But he could probably straight line it all the way.
Doesn't quite drift it to the right enough.
To me, it
Left
seems
side
like a
does get
right-handed
cluttered in a hurry near circle 2.
backhand flex
Looks
shot.
like Raven's gonna go with the forehand also.
That's all I
You guys are
see.
making a liar out of me. I called for 4 backhands.
That's all right. Neither one of them did it great. But I understand why they would do it if you're more comfortable hitting gaps in general with that. Looking, forehand looking forward. Comfortability hitting the gap is definitely more important than what the shot shapes for.
Raven tries to throw a little touchy up shot. Does run to the backside of the circle. Here's Paul from circle 2.
Oh. Damn.
And the evident frustration. Nathan, you're a baseball fan. You don't talk about a no-hitter while it's going on. But through 8 holes, Paul Macbeth being no-hit, he hasn't had a birdie. He hasn't even gotten to circle 1 in regulation.
Yeah, it's a frustrating feeling, and it's very hard. It's a very difficult thing to do, to get your mind off of that and to return to your golf game so that you can get those birdies or get that hit that you're supposed to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is actually the first hole on the course to play under par today.
That kind of makes sense. There isn't really any out of bounds to speak of to add some bonus strokes here and there. Pretty sheltered green from the wind with all of the tree cover.
Yeah, and Adam, after taking that bogey on 5, birdies 2 of the next 3. He's going to be 2 down and tied for 3rd at the moment.
Yeah, buddy. Like, it doesn't sound impressive, but it just matters what the rest of the field is up to.
Right. And moving into hole 9, our second hole on the course that doesn't average over par. It doesn't average under par either, average right at par today. You've got 2 options, big forehand, high left, which is going to be the best play.
Yeah,
There's also
I'm still
a
thinking
righty
I would go to the
backhand
big
down
forehand. Just try
on
to
the
get
right
over those
side,
trees
but
right at the
OB
end.
lining that entire right side.
Something like this.
Makes it pretty dangerous.
Looks pretty good. Might just come down early
There is
though.
OB long and left also.
390 is a pretty far
But
forehand
high
for
over
me.
the top is fairly safe. As long as you don't push it too long, you can get caught up in that tree and drop down. Maybe have an opportunity for par.
Keith going for the up the middle play with a backhand. Doesn't quite give it the height, but even from there, it's a routine layup. Paul for that flex forehand and does it pretty well. I don't know if it's quite wide enough.
Yeah, just a little bit wider or a little bit more power on that to get around that tree. You kind of need a stall shot. You can either stand it up and let it drift left to stall out, or just a straight nose up shot that stalls out to drift right.
Yeah,
but
this,
you've got
this
to.
one seems a little too nose up.
Yeah, almost pushed around that tree,
Did it come out?
but kind of driven
Or
forward.
did it stay
and
up there?
to get around that tree? Difficult shot. I bet you've seen quite a lot of similar shots for the righty backhand rather than the lefty backhand.
Definitely.
Or
definitely.
the forehand
Like,
right here.
If this hole was mirrored, it would score
Paul's
as
unimpressed.
2.6.
Just
Even
gonna
at
go for the
391,
layup.
because it plays a little downhill.
Yeah, completely agree.
Paul eventually elects to lay up there, but didn't seem happy about it and was a little casual going through the branches. Raven
Brutal.
running it out of bounds long.
Adam, just inside 40 feet, gonna hit the 9.
Yeah, expected the drop. You are pretty sheltered from the wind here, but stayed high. It was on line. He's going to close out his front with a par. Nothing wrong with that.
Raven gonna be looking to turn his back 9 around.
Yeah.
He's 6 over par through the
Raven
front 9.
plus
Just kind
6.
of finding that OB.
Tied with Emerson
Yeah, I don't
though.
think he's played gratuitously bad. He's made a couple
But
nice
Emerson
putts.
took that plus
just like
6 on hole
things
3,
stack
so
up pretty quick here.
Raven kind of just not really
Yeah,
playing
as
the
we
best
saw Emerson stack
to his
some strokes up
abilities right
pretty
now.
quick.
But
Just one bad hole really for him.
Yeah.
yeah, look at Ravens.
So you see there, Adam Hammis tied for 7th in the entire field at 2 down. We've got a
If he
2,
could
a
bring that
6,
back
and a
to
6 on the
even,
card. Over par, unfortunately.
He'd probably be able to sleep better
Luke Humphreys
tonight.
at this point, and as well as Ezra Aderhold, we're tied at 7 down, and then a cluster of 6s and 5s.
Yeah, pretty tight scoring so far. We've got the back 9 coming
That
up on
was
our feature card here.
Paul
looking
Macbeth
forward
too.
to
He's
see if a
not
couple.
in the greatest position right now either. Just gonna scroll here to the back 9. Where here? All right. Just gonna
Welcome
run to
back
the
Gatekeeper
bathroom.
Media's coverage of the 2023 Music City Open, presented by Lone Star Disc. I'm Andrew Fish, joined here by Nathan Queen.
And what a plethora of different things we got to see on that front 9 today. First 7 holes averaged over par, 15 to 20 mile an hour gusts. Pretty brutal, I'll say.
Yeah, sloppy conditions, but we saw some chaos. We saw some good putts. We saw some great saves. Adam Hammis got himself into the top 10 with 2 under par. Got some folks over par with some work to do on this back, but the back is a lot more scoreable.
Yes, the back is where you've got to get some work done if you're going to give yourself a chance. And right into it on hole 10.
Yeah. Hole 10, 354 feet. It's a par 3. Biggest obstacle is this gap and then an elevated basket. The right side is out of bounds. The left side plays as casual, but boy, you don't want to be over there.
Adam Hammis actually going up kind of over top of the gap here. Gets plenty of distance on it, actually too much. Goes about 380, going to be circle's edge long.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen anybody get long on this hole yet in practice or tournament.
That is the first I've seen.
Emerson, a lot more traditional gap shot. This is gorgeous. Drifting, drifting, drifting.
Oh,
and
do it.
out.
Oh, and just absolutely pins it. What a shot from Emerson.
Macbeth, I think this is an Athena. He also hits the gap nicely. Doesn't quite get the same late drift, but I mean, easy pickings. He might get himself on the board. We saw him unable to get to circle 1 or card a birdie on the entire front.
I'm going to call it and say he'll make that. That looked to be just outside the bullseye. I think that should give him his birdie. This is looking in danger of going OB, though. Oh, does stay in bounds over there. Kind of in a bit of a tricky spot, though. Tough to make that one.
Wow.
You've seen it a couple times.
Yeah, that was almost identical to his result on hole 9.
Yeah.
Okay, and Paul back to 1 over. Gets him moving in the right direction. We'll see Raven for his comeback putt.
Paul's first birdie. Is Paul going to make the comeback?
We are getting to those under par holes now. This one averaging at a 2.27, the third easiest on the day. Just 7 players taking a bogey, so lots of pars. And 33 players with the birdie. Into hole 11, what is the easiest hole on the course, 270 feet, one of the original holes. And I hope they keep it that way, or at least keep this green, as it's kind of a spot I feel like you just want to hang out at.
Yeah, really pretty. Like ideal benches just for sitting, having a picnic, or getting caught at early circle 1.
Nice throw.
And wild reaction for Emerson.
Bad
He does get onto
roll,
the shelf,
but
but then a crazy roll to the right.
easy par save.
A little bit of a left to right crosswind, maybe some tail. Paul leaves it too high. I think the idea here is to play something that's moving with that left to right, but underneath the branches. If you get caught at 25 feet, you just trust yourself that you're an elite player. You're going to make the putt, but you don't want to be. You don't want to just be spiking into the trees.
Yeah, this one can be a little tricky to get onto the green if you don't hit that gap just right. If you throw too fast and you do hit the rocks just right, you can skip way on past it also and end up without a putt back there in the trees.
This is pretty well driven by Raven, but does find a tree in the gap.
Yeah, so that knocks you down to usually about 38 or 40 feet. Paul Macbeth got a taste of birdie
that's
on the
Paul's
last hole
range.
and did not have enough.
Yeah, look at the velocity on that.
Nice
as it's coming
putt.
in.
Yeah,
That's a dedicated putt.
dedicated, had to reach to the left of those trees there. put a little bit of ante on it. Didn't show in the flight, but necessary off of the wrist.
Raven looking for his first bird. And heartbreaker. Chains out right.
Yeah. Strong side.
And Adams' head was down before that even got to the basket. Not a great bid.
Emerson, pretty mean roll away that he got. Not able to capitalize on the birdie. Just one birdie on our card here, but 68 players taking the birdie, and a strange stat that you rarely see. 0 bogeys on this hole today.
I like that circle 2 in regulation stat as well.
Yeah, 98% made it to circle 2.
That's pretty silly. Hole 12, we're gonna go up, up, up. You gotta go through a gap and navigate your way to the left. Not a whole lot of out of bounds here, except for this pond that's short right of the green. Biggest thing here is put it in play. I know that sounds reductive, but it's a favorable wind on the second shot.
And yeah, that's a mistake you can't really make if you want to take the birdie here. Just get it right of that tree and let it fade.
Seemed like a little hesitation in Paul's footwork there. Keith looking to correct. I don't love that he's running from back right to front left. That kind of puts it offline, I think.
That was
I agree.
unfortunate.
It makes it kind of seem like you have to throw a turnover shot to get away from that tree. As Adams kind of starting back to left here. Oh, and
we're 3 for 3.
Same.
Not in a good way.
Same
out
exact
early
line.
also. It's pretty surprising.
Raven, come on.
There's a left to right wind. And
Not even
I
surprised.
think it's just making all these players feel like they have to push it as close to that tree as possible to
Just
try to
play it
stay out
wide.
of the woods on the right. But clearly, they have all pushed it too close to that tree.
Oh, did he
And we're going
slip?
to see 4 par scrambles here, hopefully.
Yeah. This is a hole that you don't want to get behind on. It's going to play relatively easy, as the par 4s on this course do, or as they go on this course. Macbeth with a good second shot. That's going to give him a pretty easy approach into the green. I guess, Nathan, they're trying to hug this tree, as we see the tree hugging Adam, more or less. They're trying to hug that so they can work their way out to the left and make the angle into the green more favorable.
And three good shots so far. Got one left. Try to see if he can gain some distance and have an easy up and down for the par.
That's just spectator rope to the left. Raven had actually kicked forward more than everybody else and is able to take advantage.
What a shot. Maybe even gave himself a long birdie look. Couldn't tell if he quite made it around those branches or not.
Nathan, you've played with Raven a good bit. You can see that he's just a big goofball based on the reaction to that shot.
Oh, he never stops being a goofball.
I think this is a good opportunity to plug Gatekeeper Unplugged, because Raven is going to be doing his own commentary after every shot, pretty much. You won't have to listen to us nearly as much.
And Emerson up
Raven,
around the
he's
corner.
going to talk about his shots.
Paul, this looks like, I think a wasp, baseline wasp. Interesting choice, but he'll be up there. And no harm, no foul for his par attempt.
Oh, and not quite able to connect on what would have been a hero birdie and the first of the round for him. But looking to have, 3 pars and a bogey here as Emerson just a bit right side there.
This is a really solid par 4. I feel like it could fit on any course. Good mix of like the gap shot, the blind turnover, the uphill.
Foot par 3. Pretty significant uphill shot here. You've got about 290 feet before you get to that gap. Gonna play around 330 or so. If you can throw a forehand flex, looking at the basket, but distance control is difficult on this hole as it slopes down, and right behind it, a tree line comes up quickly. There's also, as you see Paul showing you here, a high shot over the top of this tree line, which is just silly, but there's so many people that can do it now. It's a viable play.
Yeah, the skies are open, and I feel like this is a very favorable wind for the shot, kind of coming off the left shoulder. In a different wind, this is a trap. Like, this is trying to trap power players into making a bad decision. A lot of the front nine is like that, where in order to get a birdie, you have to introduce a lot of risk to your play. And this back has a little bit more favorable wind direction today. Therefore, it makes that over-the-top shot more attainable.
And Raven trying to go with that flex shot, but looks like he kind of overcooked it.
Yeah, waves goodbye to that pyro. He will have a backhand hyzer through the gap. Keith going to try to follow the example and go over the top.
This does not quite have the height on it, and he does not get a favorable kick either. Kicks him down to the right, and he's looking to go back over top again now. Patent pending, going to try to go 50 feet in the air immediately. Gets it.
Good glide out of it. That entire field is just completely safe. Leaves him about 220 into the green.
So Raven looks like he pushed a little bit too far left of that gap, and is just going to also go with the big hyzer over the top, or big flex shot over the top. Crashes some spectators over at the FPO pin. Should have a nice easy pitch up for the par from there.
And the reward for biting off so much on the first shot for Hammes is this zone approach.
Yeah, if you're not as far as him, like I was saying on the flyover, this is a pretty difficult green to get your distance right on. You've got those two guardian trees on each side that Paul is flying straight into, and they are very hard to get out of.
Yeah, his disc kind of got Audrey 2'd there. He's going to have to work to get up and down for a 4.
And as soon as you get some glide on your putter,
yeah, look how slow he threw that.
you end up in the tree line long. I didn't know Emerson was going long, but it's just so common. It's so common on this hole. As soon as you catch any type of glide, it's gone.
Kind of an aggressive bid from Raven, still looking for that elusive first birdie.
And look at Paul.
Yeah.
Slowly trickling out.
He hunted for any option he could find. Yeah.
Would have been a great putt to save the par from Emerson.
I should note, Emerson was actually pretty close to a barbed wire fence, and that resulted in about the 6th question to one of the PDGA marshals. A couple of these players mentioned that their flow was a little bit difficult to get into because they kept having to be in situations where they'd have to figure out how to apply a particular rule. And they did it correctly, but it just meant that they had to take that little bit of time and energy not playing.
Yeah, it definitely can disrupt you having to do things like that as Adam Hammes moves to 3 under.
Adam Hammes here. There. Merch
375 feet as a par 3. Spiritually kind of similar to hole 9, where there's but this right-hand tunnel is almost impossible to work with. Out-of-bounds barbed wire fence to the right, as well as pretty grabby tree line.
Footing just right.
I would say the right side is pretty much just a sucker gap. There's not a, that's something that you do in a practice round with your buddies. Like, man, let me throw this shot down this tunnel.
I hate it when you like.
Not something you really want to try to pull
In
off
his
in the
situation, he's telling
tournament when
people
that OB
to
is so
move
close
over, and then
and gonna be so easy
starts
to get into.
overthinking the shot, and then you just shank it.
Unlike hole 9,
It's happened to me more than once.
There's a low shot and a medium height shot. Paul going for the low
telling people
shot
to move
here
and
does get underneath
focusing
the
on
branches, but doesn't quite have enough
civilians
turnover
or
on it.
pedestrians. Just
The
fine
medium
gets
height
rid of your
shot
foe.
is this shot, which goes around those branches Paul just got underneath and fights back nicely.
Oh, nice.
Putting Raven with an opportunity for his first birdie of the round.
Emerson to that backhand.
Turn.
And you hear it there. I wish I had a forehand. He's just not comfortable throwing that long distance shot right now.
Yeah, it's difficult to be out here trying to compete against the best in the world when you don't have all of your shots and when you don't have everything that you want to be able to do. It's not only does it make it more physically demanding, but mentally demanding as well, because in the past you have been able to do that.
Yeah, and that's something you've kind of been dealing with as you rehab from injury. Any one word or one sentence of advice to Emerson?
Nope, today was pretty brutal.
Oh!
And he skips off the top of the basket, nearly the highlight birdie of the round. Paul with a great par save. That's 2 in a row that's kept his round going.
Yeah, much cleaner putt on that one than the last one, even though it was farther. But absolutely, like you said, kept his round going. He's still at even par. Adam Hammis also able to get his par there.
Yeah, a little bit of weird balance there, as he was very maybe concerned about the mud. And because of the barbed wire, 2 meters of relief was allowed on this hole. Therefore, Emerson gets the benefit of a pretty short par cleanup here.
Does clean it up nicely. Raven now going to have that opportunity. Get his first birdie of the day. But he's over there being a goofball.
Yeah, he's going to be talking to somebody. I guarantee you that.
There it is. He knows it too. Throws it up. All right, finally got the birdie. Brings us into hole 15. As a lefty, my least favorite hole on the 77. It'll be on the left side.
777. Just a massive
Kind of
par 4.
have type of thing going on.
And a little slippage.
A little high. A little inside. All right, I mean, I guess that's a lot inside.
If you push through all the way to the other side, it's kind of open.
Yeah, that I have heard of a couple lefties playing over the top deliberately.
I'll look at
into
that
the open
tomorrow.
field.
We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Hammis playing with the up the middle route, and this is fading left a little early. He does get to a pretty decent spot, but maybe too far back to attack for 3. Macbeth going to show us a slightly different route outside Heiser.
He's looking up. I didn't think we would see this with the wind that's there today, but it looks like it's maybe died down a little bit.
Okay.
And yeah, that does carry back
They
to the left
better
side almost a
out
little
in the
bit too
open.
much.
I think as the day went on, there was
Scary
still
though,
wind,
hovering over the OB.
and it was the same direction as the rest of the day, but the intensity kind of died down to make almost every hole more throwable. And Keith with the
No.
early release, he's going to be stuck on that left side.
Doesn't even pass the
Nothing to do
FPO
but,
tee box.
Try to advance a little bit.
Yeah, that's very early. And he does advance a little bit. Gonna be throwing again, but I'm still gonna say
up for
kind of
throw.
unreachable to the pin from here.
He needs
Yeah,
to park
and
it.
in order to reach the pin, he's got to test all of the right side, which is out of bounds. Does well for himself.
Does he have a
Keeps
look?
it in the fairway.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't even pan to the
Probably, what,
basket.
80 feet?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Also, a nice shot out from Raven, who did not get clear to the other side.
No. Hamas kind of packing it in here. He's got a good round going. Just going to go glow zone.
Oh boy. I'm sure he didn't want that cut roll,
No,
but still
no,
safe
no.
nonetheless.
And once again, the skies are open for Mr. Macbeth.
Sweet.
Parked it.
He gets up there inside circle one.
I believe this is a pyro for Raven. Thrown well, just flat, 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 and then loses all of its speed right at the bullseye.
That's going to be in great position to save a par for him there.
Oh.
Same for Adam, showing great touch
Oh.
with that forehand.
That was
And this is
nasty.
the second hardest hole on the course. Honestly, this is what I thought would play as the hardest.
I believe it. They stack up quick on you.
And Paul able to card the birdie.
I'm
Under
just
par for the
wondering
first
how
time
close
of the
is
round.
Emerson
Yeah, what a hero to do that on this hole.
to last place.
We saw him
Like,
begin this back
is
nine
he
2
last
over
place?
par,
Like,
and
how many competitors are there?
now he's working himself into a pretty decent position with the field. One of the advantages to going out as a later card is you know what the pace is, you kind of know what a good round looks like.
I just think the plastic is very.
Where they have
16 challenging basket with a putt.
The island
Just
hole.
305 feet.
Paul
and
Macbeth, probably the hyzer line.
Just see the shot, hit the shot, Nathan.
Yeah, 35 feet. That's what you've got around the basket. Paul looked like he was going straight. Went through the straight gap, but on a hyzer. Going to be inside the circle. Should be basket height also. The screen slopes pretty far.
Yeah, perhaps the most dangerous on the course in that regard.
Yeah, I would definitely say it is the steepest. So if you land long of the pin towards the edge of that inbounds area, it is a very scary putt looking down. And if you miss, 80% chance it's going to go OB.
Yeah, I definitely heard of some rollaways. Newsom going to go forehand, and he's going to play through the middle. This is a little bit of a techie shot with that crosswind, but executed
He's
nicely.
good.
Yeah, I like it.
Once again,
At
Gatekeeper
least he could
Unplugged
look
will be coming out next week.
happy with his
Perhaps
bad
a
round.
must watch if you're into players commentating on their own shots.
Oh, this looks good.
Emerson going with the hyzer off to the right side as well. Maybe catches
Oh,
a
a bit
little bit
wrong.
of branch on the way by, but gonna land safely. Big downhill putt.
It's a tough angle to navigate because he is putting into a headwind downhill.
Yeah, and the basket, whenever you're looking down at it like that, it just seems smaller. I don't know if it actually is smaller,
Not really. I think it's just
but the
the
angle.
catch zone is wildly different. Hammes gets himself to 4 under.
Hi, my name's Raven Newsom.
Macbeth goes even.
That same pond on hole 17. Lay up short if it gets too crazy on the other side. So if you don't make
this
it
one's
across
easy,
or cross and bounce
easy
over
birdie
there,
for
you're gonna
Paul.
be throwing 3 from this side.
It's perfect forehand.
Mostly a headwind, a little bit of right to left. Macbeth going with the captain's Raptor, and just not quite enough speed to get all the way there. Is safe, but near edge of circle.
Yeah, that right to left really holding
That's
it,
his putting
pushing back to the
zone.
right.
He's got that.
Downhill, you feel like it's going to move left to right pretty well, but that wind seems to be keeping them straight today.
Raven pops this up a little bit. And if we had a heat map of where players are landing, that's like the 0.04%, right?
Yeah, inbounds right side of the basket.
Like, Paul's spot is a 45%.
Looks a bit long.
Adam's spot here is a 25%. And
But amazing.
Nothing 25% about how good that shot is, though.
Yeah, fantastic shot. Gonna have what should be a fairly easy birdie to move him to 5 under par for the round.
Potentially, yes. Emerson gonna go with the backhand. This is a much trickier shot to manage the angle with the headwind. Does cross in bounds, but ends up rolling out.
Yeah, that's another time where I bet if we listened long enough, we would have heard him say, "Man, I wish I had a forehand."
Yeah, almost certainly. You know, we've covered him before, and he's been pretty balanced in what he decides to throw off the tee or for up shots.
Oh, Paul's little
Paul's
dance.
swiping once again, asking the disc to move left, and it won't.
Raven Newsom all of a sudden caught a little bit of birdie fire. He's gone 3 under through the last 4 holes, moving him to 3 over par now.
Yeah, sincerely hope that the rest of the tournament we see back Raven, not front Raven. And if nothing else, he's playing with a lot of heart.
And he's still big putted Paul on the front 9. As Adam Hammes did connect for his birdie, he is now 5 down in the top 10. Paul Macbeth with a par and Emerson tapping in another bogey.
Hole 18, 723 feet, a par 4. Pretty sick closing hole, and ideal win for smash with a further challenging to birdie.
Very difficult to get to an ideal spot off of the tee shot. You see what Raven is heading straight towards right now. If you can push just in front of that, or ideally around it long, then that's going to put you in the best spot. But that's a pretty big smash to get long of it. And if you're anywhere in front of it, it's possible for you to fade out and be behind another set of trees over there.
Or if you're Adam.
This is what you want. Push long of that.
Nice.
By like 100 feet. And
Yeah.
just, that's amazing.
I believe I heard from the spotter that was about the best drive all day.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. So he will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to the bucket.
Yeah, this is more of the push, of the normal push past that group of trees.
Yep.
Like past it.
To the right side.
Yeah, to the right side, not past it towards the basket. That's pretty wild.
And Emerson also going to track way to the right. Nothing wrong with it. It's going to leave likely a backhand into the green. And not finding a good gap, Raven's going to be forced to go to a flex forehand. This simply can't birdie.
Yeah, he is in a par play right there. Just the slope of what he had to deal with on his run-up is enough to kind of take him out of birdie range. It's very steep right there. It was hard to tell from the camera.
Emerson trying to play a drifting shot, but it's hard to hold that over at 400 feet or so. He's going to be out near Circle 2's edge once again. Pure layup, take a 4, walk off the course, and fight tomorrow.
Yeah, he's got a tailwind for that 70-footer, so if he really wants it, he could give it a bid up that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely, like you said, par. Paul McBeth able
coming
to get
back
inside the circle,
right
looking
near
for a
the
birdie
end.
to finish his round.
He was
And
+2 at
ideal
one point,
position.
wasn't
Oh, Hammes hates it. He knows
Got
he's throwing
under.
it too high with the Raptor.
Yeah, and I think some of the wind just caught that on the nose up there. It's still going to be in Circle 2, I think.
And the new stabilizer for Raven. Does leave himself a headwind putt, but from level with the basket.
Yeah, and it looks like Emerson did try to give that a bid.
he? Wow.
Why not?
What a sick finish for Adam Hammes, going
Circle
from 3
2.
down to 6 down in 3 holes. That gets himself up to 3rd place. In a
Wow.
huge logjam tie
Yes,
for
yes,
it.
a
But
huge tie.
yeah.
But what a way to finish. A turkey, 16, 17, some birdies that you feel like you want to get. 18, definitely a great birdie to finish on. Paul McBeth able to get it as well. Didn't get under par until hole 15 inside the top 20.
Yeah, 5 down on this back. Really well done for him. We know he's always dangerous, and he told me that he thinks double digits is out there for him. Raven, a
Ooh.
good battle.
Yeah, I could see double digits on this course from quite a few players. The wind drops down 5-10 miles an hour for the entire round. Lots of birdie opportunities out here.
And Emerson, his round kind of marred by that tough hole 3, but good on him for being out here
110
battling even through an injury. Once again, you
place
see
for Emerson.
6 down, 3 down, and then a 3 up and 8 up for our feature card. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate the Music City Open and all the volunteers and staff that are making this possible. You see, tomorrow we're going to see Nick Hansen, Anthony Barella, Austin Turner, and Adam Hammes.
Wow. That was crazy. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. But I'm definitely going to watch round 2. Maybe sometime this week. I'd like to do it tomorrow. We'll see. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Talk to you soon.